Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another day, another episode of 30 NSG. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about why Starfield doesn't have land vehicles for its vast planets. Comes from an article from Paul Tassi from Forbes. We're going to be talking about a No Man's Sky is having one of the best months ever from Game Rant. We're going to be talking about negative. We're going to be talking about negative reviews make NBA 2k24 second worst game on Steam. And then we also have an article that we're going to talk about. I played Assassin's Creed Mirage, and it really is a throwback to the best of the series. So these are the 4 articles that we're going to go over today. If you like what we do here, we basically just read the news and then have conversations with you all in chat. So if you like it, please hit that like button down below. We're a very small channel, and all the likes help us very much. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, you can become a subscriber. And if you'd like to go above and beyond that, you can become a member as little as $5. We do lots of different shows on here. We do uploads. We do shows Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning till noon Eastern. We do shows at 8 p.m. Eastern, Monday through Wednesday for Let's Plays. And then Thursday night, we do a podcast called Generation X Gaming, which goes over a few of the top stories in the past week, and we rant along the way. Episode 365 is coming out this Thursday. So appreciate everyone coming out. How's everyone doing? What's going on, chat? What's going on, Travis? Silent Warrior, Dave Rose, Stealth Gaming, Kylo, what's going on? Good morning, good morning. What's going on, Waterbed? All right, so let's start off with the NBA 2K. Okay, we talk about this all the time as far as sports games, right? Sports games remind me of people complaining about like microtransactions, and everyone's like, I hate microtransactions, and then they buy microtransactions, right? Sports games are that thing before microtransactions happen. Now there's microtransactions in sports games, but sports games are the exact same thing over and over and over. Okay. Now, the first story we got is negative reviews make NBA 2K24 the second worst game on Steam. The first worst story on Steam, or first game on Steam, is Overwatch 2. Now, NBA 2K24 was released on September 8th. And it's already become the second worst rated game over on Steam. It sits in a second place behind Overwatch 2, boasting an overall score of 1.0 out of 10. Overwatch 2 is a 0.99 for reference. This is it's a mixture of review bombing and genuinely disappointed customers, as it was pointed out that many of the negative reviews have a fair few hours in the game already. They bought it, tried it, and then were so disappointed that they publicly voicing their concerns, working collectively to make NBA 2K the second worst rated game on the popular PC platform. Now, but why? Why is it bad? Right? At the time of writing this, there's 3,000 reviews of NBA 2K24 and overwhelming negative, but still shifting copies. Okay? I don't know if it's shifting copies or shipping copies. That's eternal concern is annual release. It says, we as gamers will complain about them every year, but for the most part, it's to buy them again and again, and the next iteration rolls out, right? It's probably out of some dire hope that something has changed for the better. On the list of issues players have in the game, there are a few standout examples. NBA 2K24 had the story-driven portion of my career stripped out of the game. That's missing features. Still, same price as it was last year, but there's content removed now. There are limitations in the cross-play functionality. It's the same as last year with barely any improvements. The version you get on PC isn't next gen, and there are too many cheaters. Okay, so one user wrote quite simply in the review on Steam, it just might be the worst NBA 2K game I've ever played in my entire life. So, look, this is what happens when you keep buying the sports games. Okay. If you want the sports games to become better, okay, you have to stop buying the games every single year. This is almost the same problem that Call of Duty, I've said, right? And Assassin's Creed had the exact same thing, which we have an Assassin's Creed story. Like, when a game comes out every year, just boom, 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 right? Obviously, Call of Duty is the most popular game on the planet. Okay, well, one of the most popular games on the planet, if not the best first-person shooter that's popular on the planet. But the problem with Call of Duty is that it comes out every year, and people are upset because they buy stuff, they do things, and all of a sudden it's missing. Now Call of Duty is making you continue where last year's stuff moves over to this year's stuff, and that's the first time they're doing that in the franchise history. But with sports games, I used to play every sports game known to man, right? You could ask Sarge. I owned basically every baseball game that ever came out from 1982 all the way up until, I don't know, 2005. Okay. I used to buy Madden every year because the reason that was that Madden worked back then and not now is the same conversation we have about AAA games running straight to a wall because visually they're not getting better, right? They're there, but they're not going. Their incrementally of getting better is very small now compared to Madden and NFL back in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s compared to Madden today. Graphics got better and better every single year, and that was the driving factor of why you would purchase a Madden. They would put new gameplay, they would do new graphics, and it would get better. But for the last decade, Madden football visually hasn't really changed. Same with NBA 2K. NBA 2K all of a sudden got these graphics at some point, right? We used to play Double Dribble. We used to play NBA Jam. We used to play all these things. They had different art styles and designs. But then these titles coming out for basketball, right? NBA, it wasn't NBA 2K, but NBA that EA had. They all look the same year after year after year. So visually, they're not improving, right? Visually, they're not improving. I mean, if anything, they're getting worse, right? Obviously, this is just one picture of a clip of things that are happening. But because they don't move up visually, now you got to pack the stuff with something, right? And I don't know. I want to kind of make a conversation here. Do you think that sports games, now obviously I don't think this will happen because they have to figure out how are they going to make that money because it's a $70 game now, right? It's a $70 game. It's an $80 game. It's a $90 game. It's a $100 game, all depending on what version you buy and what extra stuff that you get. Plus they have I know in the Madden and the FIFA, they have the Madden or the Ultimate Team type stuff, and they sell tons and tons of stuff. But is it time for basketball games and football games and just sports games in general, instead of coming out every single year, they just come out with the next roster list? But you really don't need that because you could do that yourself inside the game. You could trade who you want and move things over. The roster list basically just does it for you faster, where you could do it yourself every single year. I played a baseball game. I forget what year it was, but I played it for like 4 years because I would just take the teams, and if a new person came in the league that was a really good superstar, I would just go create them and then put them on that team. So it takes a little bit more of the user to make the fantasy of having the league going on and whatnot. But is it time that the sports games just do the roster update for like $10, $20 per year, especially since the Ultimate Team and stuff? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below and what you guys think inside the chat. Let me see what you guys are saying in chat. Waterbear says, sports ball. Kyle says, yep, once you make and build and upgrade your character, you can't take it back and get to the VC back. You're stuck with the trash build and wasted your money on leveling it up. The game is bad or nothing changed from last year. I think it's both, Dolphin. I think people are review bombing it because, or I hate the term review bomb, but that's what the article said, right? I think people are just kind of fed up with all the stuff. But then again, we're in this kind of weird state in video games where people just like to shit on everything, and then they rush to come out, and what do you expect? Yeah, it was the same from like 95 till 2007. Madden used to be an NFL sim. Now it's just pay to win. Travis says, I love EA. Won't do intelligence things like Battlefield isn't the competitor for COD, but Titanfall could be. Nah, I don't even think Titanfall could be a competitor with it. But you making the comparison, though, Travis, Titanfall is closer to Call of Duty than Battlefield is. You are correct there. We need NFL 2K and Joe Montana football back. Oh man, Joe Montana football on the Sega Dreamcast. Not the Sega Dreamcast, Sega Genesis. I remember that. NBA Jam and Super Nintendo was amazing. We had tournaments all weekend. Yep. Kyler Green says, I played NHL pretty much every year, but it's the same crap every year. But you get stuck with EA, NHL, because there's no other competition since they own the rights to NHL and the NFL. Right. And because they own the rights, right? Because they own the rights, Kylo, they don't have any kind of motivation to make the game better in any way, shape, or form. It's the bare minimum as possible, right? Kyle says, it makes sense, but people buy every year and spend tons of new games in microtransactions or micros, and they won't do it until people don't buy, and which won't happen. Exactly. Exactly. Right? Like I can't. I think I showed it the last time I bought a Madden game was the only reason I bought it is because it came with the NFL ticket. Like I think it was on Amazon. If you bought it off of Amazon, they gave you the NFL ticket. So if you bought the NFL ticket, it came with Madden. So the only reason I got Madden is because I got the ticket. This was years ago. Since then, I don't really watch it anymore. I don't really play it anymore. I do like sports games, right? We played the baseball game on here. I wouldn't mind play. I played Madden football with my son. He downloaded it on his Xbox and we played it. Okay. I think they're fun, but I refuse to purchase or partake in that game anymore because it's just the same thing all the time. Dave Rose says they never happen. That'll never happen because it leaves money on the table. No one is paying $70 for a roster update. Oh yeah, that's why I didn't say $70. I'm saying like $20, $30 for a roster update. Let's see. There's only one good football game, and that's NFL Blitz. EA's motivation are old enemies. It's like iPhones in a way. The upgrade to the bare minimum every year, and the people buy them every year. Nothing changed, right? Well, that's a little different because in the cell phones, they become obsolete or they break or the battery life. So you're kind of forced to get the next one. The games are not, I mean, they are broken, buggy when they come out, but you could continue. Like if I want to pop in Madden 2005, I could still play 2005, right? If I want to play 2013, I can still play 2013. The only reason you would want as a sports fan is to play with your friends online. If you're playing solo, you can play that sports game indefinitely until your console breaks or your disc breaks or the digital thing doesn't work anymore. Like you can continuously play that game. There was a reason I didn't purchase. I purchased the show. Was it 2 years ago? The first year it came out. This is the third year it came out. Okay, I haven't purchased the NBA MLB the Show last year or the year before, right? Because or this year or the year before. I bought it the first year because I knew it was going to be the same, and now it's on Game Pass, so it makes sense to be on Game Pass, right? Because they make their money. MLB the Show makes their money because people buy the cards and whatnot, and make their ultimate team or whatever it's called in that game, right? But they're not charging full price every year. I mean, they are, but majority of the people that are playing that game now can play it off as a streaming service type of stuff. So to me, sports games make more sense on a Game Pass, on a PlayStation Plus system subscription service. But paying $70 every single year for the exact same game with minimal upgrades. Okay, sometimes they even pull stuff out, like they pulled out the story on this one. So it's very strange to see what sports games are going through, and I wonder what the next iteration of sports games will be. And I think we're at that point, even though people are buying, less and less people are buying every single year, right? Less and less people are buying every single year. I kind of do see that EA just throws the Madden on EA Play, brand new, right off the bat, or they make a deal and they just throw Madden or FIFA onto Game Pass as the industry evolves. Because at that point, yeah, they're not getting the $70 up front, but more people will play. And if more people play, there's a potential that more people will spend microtransactions on that, the Ultimate Team or packs of cards or whatever it is. Let's see here. Nothing more than a cash grab now. Zero innovation, gets worse every year. Come on, Anthony. Little joke aside, do you think Reforged Gaming is a PS fanboy? I'm just kidding. I don't think he's a fanboy of PlayStation. I mean, people think he is, but I think he just plays games and likes talking about games. No one wants one game over again and again with better quality graphics. That's not it. Let's see. I'll buy Madden again if it was better every year. It's literally the exact same buggy crap shit. Yeah. Is there a frisbee golf sports game? If not, big missed opportunity. I think there actually is. I think there actually is. Um, I mean, I don't think it's a massive game. Let's see. Yeah, here you go. November. The AUDL announces first pro ultimate frisbee video game. Okay. This came out in November 15th of 2021. So if there's a game out there, here's what it looks like. So there is a game. They don't really show gameplay, so it might not be very good. But there is a game. So there you go. I've got the perfect name for it: hippie golf. Frisbee golf, only one I know of from Wii Sports. Golf Ultimate is different. Yeah, no, there it is. A video game is supposed to come out in 2022. I don't think it did though. Let's see. They announced the game today. They announced, oh, it's a Kickstarter project, the first ever full featured Ultimate video game. It's like Madden. I wouldn't. Let's see. It is out. You buy it? It's $30. You can register to play it. Yeah, I'm not sure. That's funny. Yeah, so there is an Ultimate Frisbee. What's Frisbee golf? Well, Frisbee golf and Ultimate Frisbee are two different things, right? Frisbee golf, you really don't know what Frisbee golf is, Water? Frisbee golf is, it's like golf. There's these bins, like baskets on the course. In Texas, they have a lot of these. We have a couple of courses over here as well in Florida. But there's a basket. Here, let me show you. Let me show you. And people it's like crazy good, right? Let me see. Are these golf shots or is this? Hold on, let me see. Yeah, you'll watch people. It's really hard, right? You'll lose multiple discs because you'll hit the water or get them stuck in a tree. When I lived in Texas, I played a lot of frisbee golf. Okay, so this is frisbee golf. Okay, so you see him throw it, and there's a basket around the corner, and a dog leg, and he gets it in the basket. So that's frisbee golf. You play like golf, but you're throwing it with your wrist, right? And that's how you get frisbee golf. Okay, it's actually really fun and really hard, and you don't need anything. You could just grab some beers, grab your frisbees, and then go play. Now, Ultimate Frisbee, okay, Ultimate Frisbee is completely different. It's like football, okay, but you play on the football field. All right, that's what this is. Okay, Ultimate Frisbee it's like soccer, I should say. Soccer meets frisbee, and you can do a bunch of stuff, and you gotta try to score. Once you catch it, you can't take more than like 2 steps. You have to like stop. Okay, and then from there you can throw it again. I had a buddy of mine who was really freaking good. I mean, he used to go watch him play for the University of Central Florida. Right? It's you can tip it, right, and you can catch it. Yeah. Ultimate Frisbee is completely different than frisbee golf. Okay, this is crazy the way they, but it is. It's like soccer. See, now he can't move, right? He can't move. Once you catch the ball, you only can take like 2 steps or something like that. I forget what the rules are. Yeah, but it's pretty awesome to watch when you see certain things. Now, see, you could tip it, and then continue to go, but you can only take 2 steps. And it constantly goes back and forth, back and forth. You actually throw it into a person with a dog in their backyard and go, nope, I'm out. What's the ultimate frisbee golf? For grizzly bears and chasing you the entire time? Yeah, that's ultimate. That's ultimate Running Man golf. Yeah, like Arnold Schwarzenegger comes after you and tries to mow you down with a machine gun as you're playing. Yeah. You got laid back frisbee. Yeah, I used to love playing frisbee golf because you literally just bring a 6-pack of beer with you, and then you would walk around the park drinking beer and throwing frisbees. No, I didn't see that. Stealth. What is that? Is that for Legos? Is that what you're telling me? Or is that it? Are you talking about bored while people come up with some shit? Man, there's a lot of weird sports, bros. There's tons. There's this marble game I saw a video like 6-7 months ago where people play these. It's like marbles, but it's not marbles. It's more competitive, and you have to try to get into this hole. I don't understand how they keep score. It's the weirdest things. Oh, bored white people coming up with some shit. Yeah, there's cornhole. There's darts. There's there's plenty. I mean, curling, right? There's so many different things that people come up with. But like, look, if there's balls involved and holes to throw stuff in, it's a sport. Balls and holes. That's all you need. All right, so sports. Back to NBA 2K. When's the last time you guys bought a sports game? And since you bought a sports game, like, how often do you play it? Or is it just kind of, do you play online? Do you play with friends? Do you play the Ultimate Team? Or do you just play it for single player and go through like a franchise or a season? My first thought was Stealth was saying someone built it in Starfield. I thought it was Starfield as well, right? Because I saw the UC, right? And then I saw the UCS, whatever. And I was like, oh, he's talking about Starfield. But then he said October 1st. And I was like, why would Starfield have a date on it? So that's why I said I thought it was a Lego set. Boss says I haven't played a sports game in years, probably over a decade now. I did play a sports game recently, which I have a video, which is the Legend Bowl that I have uploads, right? Like these things are fun. This stuff right here. I know this is funny, but this is actually a really fun game. This football game, this reminds me, okay, this reminds me of what Madden came from, right? Playing Madden football back in the 80s and then visually getting better and better every single year. That's what this reminds me of. It's like reset, right? It's like you start back at the basics. And this game is fun because it's fun, not because of the visuals, okay? And then let's say this comes out next year, or maybe it comes out in 5 years, or maybe it comes out in 10 years, and then they up the graphics, right? That's what makes these games. The actual gameplay makes it fun. Okay, you don't have to have the hoopla of all the visual graphics. Now, obviously, okay, The sports games themselves are fun because you're playing the sport, right? We as gamers and playing all these years, we like the graphics, and graphically it gets better and better every year. This is why we like Madden. Remember Madden football back in the day? I mean, when you look at Madden football, let's look at Madden football. Was it here's what Madden, the evolution. Here you go. Perfect video. Right? Here's the evolution of Madden football. Okay. This is what Madden football started out at. 1988. Okay. This is what we played. Okay. Then it moved to 1990, 2 years later. Right? John Madden football. Right? Then you played the Madden football where they were getting run over by the ambulance and stuff. You know what I mean? Right? Here's 92. Last sports game I bought was Madden that had Brett Favre on the cover, and he went to the Jets. Oh, yeah, that was the year they sold 2 different covers. They sold the regular cover, and then they had Brett Favre on the Packers, and then they had Brett Favre on the Jets. Right? And this is why people liked Madden, though, right? Not because of the graphics. They loved it because of the gameplay. It was fun. And then every year, they upped it. Every year, the graphics changed or got better and did stuff different, right? Visually, it got better and better, right? We were like, oh, it's cute. It's cool. Oh, it's really fun. Oh, he's in the dance. Oh, there's a halftime show. There's all this stuff that was going on. You know what I mean? Right? Look at it. Look how you think in your head that Madden was actually better looking than it was back in the past, but it wasn't. Right? Look at the change from this to this. Look at the difference. This is one freaking year. Right? Madden Football 64. Look at that. Right? Those graphics were amazing. I mean, both versions look terrible. Right? Then you had 98. Look at the graphics here, man. 99. Look at the difference between 98 and 99. Marshall Falk. I remember that. He was on the cover. Look how bad those pixelations looked. But it came a long way, man. And every year you looked at this and was like, holy Christ, the graphics are getting so good. And this is why they bought it every year. This is why you bought it every year. Because the graphics. Right? The graphics. I mean, that's crazy. From 99 to 2000 to 2001 to 2003, look, just so, like, exponentially better. Exponentially better. Now you see how that's 2004, but it's 2003, right? Like, you just see the graphics. And from like here till like now, I mean, they changed, don't get me wrong, right? But look, you can see the textures. Come on, Tubes. I mean, look at the facial animations, right? Just a couple of years ago, 5 years ago, you couldn't even make out a face. It was just a blob with eyes. Now, dude, it's wide open. My God. Devin Hester. See you later. See you later. Right? And here you can't look at Madden and go, oh, well, it's shit. This is when it was still good. Okay, when they actually cared. Because they added stuff and they made better plays and better mechanics and all the stuff. But then they went into the 15-year deal right after this one. Right? The 15-year deal. And this is where Madden just kind of settled, right? Look, 2010 to now. Madden Arcade, which is just different. It wasn't the same. Let's skip past that one. All right, now you have 2011. And you look at the graphics, right? Here, that's the Madden. Right? Here's 2012. I mean, look at the graphics. They look great. Right? They look great. Here's 13. This is 14, but it's 25. Like, where do you go from here? Right? Where do you go with Madden? Where like, look at the graphics, man. The graphics just intense. And this is what they sell, but it's the same every year until what? It becomes reality. Here's 2017. Now you can't even tell if this is like a real football game, right? Look at where Madden's come from, right? Now, if you look at this and someone came in the room, you would think you're watching television until you see certain things, right? Like, it looks like you're watching television, like it's an actual television game. Look at this. If someone told you this was an actual game, you'd be like, ah, eh. This is 20. Dude, how much time does he have to throw? My God. He was like doing his books back there. Holy Christ. My God. What time do you have? We've come a long way. Right? And the only thing that separates the football games now is that nobody else can make a football game. Right? I mean, they can make football games, but no one can make an NFL football game. So that is the reason. That is the reason that Madden dominates, because they own the rights to NFL. So when you look at a game like Legend Bowl, or what's that other one, Active Football, or whatever the hell it's called, they're just random teams. Like in Legend Bowl, I can make the names and stuff into the actual teams, but the logos and stuff are not there, right? I can go in and change all the players to the names of the actual players, but like, why do I care, right? At this point. So it's crazy. It's crazy where Madden's come from, and these basketball games and stuff. They look I mean, they look great, but they're getting worse and worse every year because there's no competition for them. I says, man, when I saw Madden 07 on PlayStation 3 for the first time, my mind was blown. Seeing the breaths of the players on the cold night in the game, seeing the sweat on their faces, it was amazing. And now you're just kind of desensitized to it, right? Boss says, I forgot about Madden. But that was a long time ago. You could submit your plays and get picked as a top plays of the week. You can see your play. Oh, that's right. I totally forgot about that. 102-yard TD pass, Donovan McNabb, Westbrook. What's going on, 76? So let's go from that for the sports ball talk to we talked about this right before Starfield came out. I said because Starfield's coming out, other space games are going to, because people are like, I don't really want to get I actually don't want to get Starfield. I want to play another space game. So they might go look at Star Citizen. They might go look at No Man's Sky. And because more people were hyped for Starfield, or the hype of Starfield, I should say, No Man's Sky is having one of its best months ever in the history of the game. So Hello Games founder Sean Murray announces that No Man's Sky is having its best month in years, over 7 years after its first original launch. Okay. It says just over 7 years after the game release, No Man's Sky is having one of the best months ever. It's been biggest in years, according to Hello Games' Sean Murray. When the first launched in 2016, the sci-fi exploration game was generally considered to be a disappointment by fans and observers. Hype surrounding No Man's Sky had been high, but unfortunately, I feel like space games in general, the amount of sheer expectations for a game is like astronomical, no pun intended, right? Unfortunately, the title failed to live up to the expectations and received mixed reviews. I mean, history does repeat itself, right? That's what's happening to Starfield right now. Okay. Thanks to the efforts of the developer publisher Hello Games, however, the reception has turned around over time. Now, thanks to numerous patches, updates, and expansions, No Man's Sky has joined the ranks of disappointing games and redeemed themselves after launch. What began as frustrating slog has become an immersive exploration sim that allows players to explore a living galaxy full of interesting characters, wonders, sights, and now it seems that the record numbers of players are diving into the world of experiencing it for themselves. On Twitter, Hello Games founder Sean Murray has shared the news that No Man's Sky is currently experiencing its best month in the past several years. Murray announced did not offer any concrete numbers. Now, real quick, we had we talked about this. We talked about this a couple, I guess, weeks ago, where No Man's Sky made so much money when it came out that all the DLC that they had, or updates they've had to this game over the last 7 years, they can go another, I think it's 8 years, without charging a cent, okay? And they still well ahead of time. Now, obviously, every time they come out with a DLC, there's people that are buying and playing No Man's Sky for the first time. And obviously, it's still happening. They've had their best month ever. It says, but he did emphasize the players are joining in across all platforms and titles are currently available on. It also didn't speculate on the games is suddenly being resurgence in popularity, but it seems quite possible that the recent release of Starfield could be a contributing factor. It is. I mean, this is just natural what happens. If a Star Wars show comes out, people start playing Star Wars games. If a Star Trek game came out, people like playing Star Trek games. If a Witcher show came out, people start playing The Witcher, right? This is what happens. Right? When people look at it and go, I don't have Game Pass. I don't really want to play. I don't want to play Bethesda. I heard No Man's Sky is good. Oh, it's on sale. Oh, it's on this. Oh, it's on my system. Right? Hello Games, what they've done over the years to me is phenomenal for what they've done. Right? When it came out, No Man's Sky was trash, and people forget that the modders fixed it. Right? People that were in the modding community fixed it on the PC and whatnot. And then Hello Games went back and fixed it. So like a modder put the ship where you could come lower to the ground and fly within the atmosphere, okay? Where you couldn't do that. You couldn't go close to the ground in No Man's Sky, and now you can because the modder did it, and then they added it to the game and fixed it themselves, right? And then they added more stuff. Get on ships, and they've added freighters, and they did all these things, right? It's amazing what they've done over 7 years, but people forget where it came from to where it is. Okay. It says that there are ways that Starfield compares to No Man's Sky in its emphasis on the space exploration with its own unique approach. Now, so new adventures could encourage gamers to find other ways to travel in a mysterious galaxy. Okay. The Twitter post certainly got some fans discussing similarities and differences between the two games, with some arguing that No Man's Sky is superior experience and will likely draw more players away from Starfield. Most commenters, however, simply seem that they want to celebrate the success of the game and they love to speculate on what could be coming next. As No Man's Sky just revealed its release a major update that continues to support the title, these fans certainly have reasons to look forward to the future. There's no telling how long and renewed the support for the game will last for how popular it will become in Halo games, and the fans are certainly enjoying the boost while it lasts. Anyone looking for a sci-fi alternative to Starfield will likely want to check out this or check this out. It was haven't already, with years of developer to improve the title and lots of great No Man's Sky expansions to choose from. It's a great time to grab a ship and start flying. Look, No Man's Sky right now is a phenomenal game, right? There's so much to do, right? We played it a couple weeks ago before Starfield came out. We were trying to get the new race and stuff that I actually want to go back and try to get it, right? The ships that they've added, the new races they've added, the new base building that there's in there that with a couple of updates. What's happened now with No Man's Sky is like a completely different beast. Like people want to know what's the next happening. Like what are they going to add next? What is Sean Murray and Hello Games going to be adding next? I've said for years now. I was like, all right, Sean, you can start charging. You can start charging for No Man's Sky. There's no microtransactions, right? There's none. Zero microtransactions in this game. Okay, you can earn I think it's Quicksilver in the game and earn and purchase stuff inside the game by getting currency inside the game. But there is no microtransactions. There's no cosmetics. There's no season passes. There's no battle pass. They have expeditions every once in a while that you can go on, which are also free. It's like, well, how do they make money off of this? Well, it's just like old school gaming. You make a game and you sell a game. And from the money that you make from that game, you continue making money because your game is really good and fun to play. So other people are like, I'm going to pick that up. And that's what they do, right? And the people that bought it day one, they've been playing for 7 years. The people that just buy it today, buy it for full price. And then now they can play it for the next 7 years or whatever it is, right? So it's amazing to me that No Man's Sky can do what they're doing. And I look forward to No Man's Sky. Look, I am okay that No Man's Sky is not like Starfield. And I'm okay that Starfield is not like No Man's Sky. If I want seamless space travel and do all the stuff, I'll go play No Man's Sky. But if I want like story-driven content, like verbal RPG where I'm role-playing, you can still role-play in No Man's Sky. But it's just a different feeling completely inside of Starfield compared to No Man's Sky. But both games are great, right? No Man's Sky is, they went through their share of what Fallout 76 went through. They went through their share of all these other games that have been talking crap about, like Cyberpunk. And here we are 7 years later. No Man's Sky is still here and it's stronger than ever it's been before. So that says a lot about Sean Murray and Hello Games. You know, he used to go on shows and try to do interviews, and now he just shuts up and makes the game. And it shows, right? No Man's Sky is still here 7 years later. Let's see what you guys are saying in chat. There's literally zero storyline to follow, just dumbass tackling. Oh, that's Madden you're talking about. Here's an idea, gamers. Play both, right? I don't understand how you call yourself a gamer and don't play more than one game in a given genre. I think people are disappointed with Starfield migrated to No Man's Sky. I'm sure, boss, there are some people that maybe they were No Man's Sky and they were kind of disappointed in No Man's Sky, and then they said, oh, you know what, I'm gonna try Starfield. And they went to Starfield and they went, yeah, you know what, I'm gonna go back to No Man's Sky. I'm sure there's people like that. I think there's also people that never played No Man's Sky, played Starfield and went, I don't want to play this. I'll tell you what though, No Man's Sky is pretty boring in the very beginning, right? It's also a game that doesn't really tell you stuff. It's like, yeah, you need to fix your engines, okay? But within first, I would say 2 to 3 hours, I mean, you can get up and running and know what you're doing, where Starfield's a little slower than that. But also, No Man's Sky is not really story-driven. There is a story, but it's not really story-driven. Let's be honest, a lot of people don't like to read. They want to just hear audio. Wait, For Starfield 2 or Star Citizen for seamless space travel. I don't know if if Starfield 2 comes out, Titan, if they add the seamless. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. I just don't think the engine can handle it. If they change the engine, then maybe, sure. I would what engine does No Man's Sky use? Do we know? What's the game engine that No Man's Sky uses? Havoc Physics Engine. So they use their plants are rendered using voxels, procedurally generated textures with flora, fauna, and other surfaces features use polygon rendering and maintain a targeted 30 frames per second, along with middleware, Havoc Physics Engine, the animation, and other dynamic features. Interesting. So they have their own proprietary engine for No Man's Sky as well. I mean, it would be pretty cool if No Man's Sky did audio dialogue like Starfield. I think that would bring up the value of that game even more. Like, instead of running around and then talking to an alien and they're like, subtext, they actually had voiceovers. That would skyrocket No Man's Sky. And it's almost like, does No Man's Sky, do they make a No Man's Sky 2? Right? I don't know. Or they just can continue playing it. Just never really played on any of those. Always heard Mass Effect is really good. Never played that either. Oh, Mass Effect is a fantastic game, boss. Like, Mass Effect 1, Mass Effect 2 is my favorite game. My top 3. And Starfield's getting there as far as, like, the story type stuff and overall type of space game it is. Mass Effect 2 is a phenomenal game. Starfield's opening is dreadfully boring. Probably the worst open to any game. I don't know. No Man's Sky is pretty freaking boring. Like, really freaking boring. No Man's Sky would be a perfect game to add AI voice to read all the text. Oh, 100%, 76. 100%. Unless they let Obsidian make the next Fallout for them. Well, I don't think that's going to happen, Kylo, because they're working on Avowed, and then I think they're doing Outer Worlds 2. Outer Worlds 2. Maybe after Outer Worlds 2 comes out. Don't like reading, more games should implement TTS for reading in the game's logs and such. I mean, I personally like reading, Titan. I like reading. I didn't like reading when I was younger. I love reading now with all the information in the books and stuff like that. I absolutely love it. But I totally get why people don't. By the time Starfield 2 is a thing, if ever, will be another 2 gens ahead. Yeah, because if they work on Starfield 2, that means they're done making Elder Scrolls 6. They're done making Fallout 5, right? Because we know both those games are going to be a thing. And then there's Starfield 2, if that's a possibility. So we're talking, like, I'm 45 now. I'm not seeing that game until I'm like 60, 65. Mass Effect, perfect, only perfect game ever made. It's not perfect, but I would say it's the closest thing, Travis. But it's subjective to everybody, Right, I'm just saying that the time Elder Scrolls 6 is out, I'm sure Obsidian will have the time to make a new Fallout, and Bethesda can possibly focus on another Starfield. Well, they already said they're going to do another Fallout. Right, so Obsidian, obviously, they could be working on multiple games at once, but they're doing Avowed, and then they're doing Outer Worlds 2. I don't know if they do a New Vegas 2, or they do another Fallout game. It's perfect. I'm revoking your Mass Effect fan card. Right, you can have it. I don't need a card to tell me I'm a fan. So I'm interested to see what happens with No Man's Sky. Does No Man's Sky do they have this like 2.0 type of like No Man's Sky 2.0 where all of a sudden they put the voice lines in and they just keep making this game better and better and better because they are right now. I mean, it's a fun game, man. Like No Man's Sky is a fun game. It's a lot fun. It's a lot. I don't want to say it's a lot better with friends. Like if you play with friends and you can like do stuff together. I would like, and again, this is all fantasy in my head. I would like to build like cities, and people do, right? People do build cities. Like here, check this out. Like people build giant giant buildings and stuff, right? Like look at this. Like they build stuff. What I would like to see from No Man's Sky, okay, and I don't know how they would do it. I always bring up Star Wars Galaxies. Okay. I always bring up Star Wars Galaxies, which is back from like 2003. Star Wars Galaxies, right? Which was, in my opinion, one of the best MMOs. And they did so many things in that game that's still not implemented in most MMO games today. Okay. Where, if you've heard this story before, I'm sorry, but I'm going to say it again. Inside Star Wars Galaxies, you could start at Tatooine and you could run. I mean, you know, the entire planet. Like it's this giant planet. You're running, it's like unlimited, okay? And you would see nothing. You would see nothing. And then all of a sudden, you come back the next week and you're like, I'm gonna go farm these guys in the same spot I did last time. And then all of a sudden you see like one house out there. You would see a player's house out there. And then all of a sudden, the next time you would come, you would see like two players' houses out there. And then you would see three players' houses back there. Then you see a small town. Then you see a wall. Then you see like a big, like a industrial building, or you see a spaceport built. And what I loved about that game is that it evolved over time based on the population of the people inside the actual game. If they wanted to join up and they're like, hey, I want to make a house next to you, you're like, sure. Then you could start making your mayor of your town. Then you could start voting on stuff. Then you could be part of factions. And there's all of these things that you did inside that game. No Man's Sky, I know, is just a survival game. But when you play online with people and you have other bases and stuff, you can't build next to somebody else because there's a territory. Once you place your base, it's like a circumference around, and no one can build near you or whatnot, right? I kind of wish they let people build like these kind of towns and whatnot and had like trade posts and things like that. You can build the trade posts inside your AI towns, right? You have a settlement now in No Man's Sky, which is really cool. And you can build up your settlements inside that town. Now, I want them taking it to the next level. Now, obviously, this is all in my head, what they could possibly do. So I'm very excited to see what No Man's Sky does in the future, because Starfield's not doing that, right? Starfield's not doing that. Okay? Some things that No Man's Sky does is far superior than what other space games are out there. Like Elite Dangerous doesn't do any of that stuff. Right? Star Citizen, I don't think does any of that stuff. But Star Citizen's interior ships and some of their missions are really cool. And then there's Starfield. Starfield is now another space game that's doing different things, and I think they have their niche market. But No Man's Sky, man, I'm very impressed what they're doing, and I look forward to see what else they do in the future. Let me see what else I can find. What is this? Is this a No Man's Sky Amazing Cyber City? Look at this. Someone created this. Someone created this in No Man's Sky. One has 200 people. See, that's awesome, Brain. But how do they do it when they share, like, where they share buildings? Like, you can't build on my property, can you? Do I have to give you permission to build on my property? Like somebody owns that area and it's a community build type of thing? Like, look at this. Yeah, see, this is cool. right? This is cool to me. I love stuff like this, right? Someone mailed a cyber seed that had to take freaking forever, man. Look at this, right? Is this one man city or is this helped by a bunch of people? You build right next to each other, enable everyone can add and edit. Oh, see, that's cool. So they're already doing it. See, that's cool. They got like a Facebook logo there. Yeah, see, this stuff is pretty cool. It's a small little cyberpunk city that they've created. You got the balconies. At the motel. Yeah, dude. This is No Man's Sky has the potential of being like a Minecraft. You know? See, you're not gonna get this in Starfield. What's the build limit now? I know you said, Brain, that they've upped it. Do you know what the build limit is now? That's a lot of pieces they have going on here, just on the outside. I like how they use certain things to make it look like doors. Very cool. Player made community. Let's see. There's some cool looking ones. That's another thing I like about No Man's Sky. You just go explore and you come across someone's creation, and that's fun. This is one of the things I said about Starfield in the very beginning. I was like, man, I know it's a single player game, which so was No Man's Sky at one point, and then they made it multiplayer. I think that's what made No Man's Sky like it went above and beyond what they wanted to do, right? Because it was a single player game, and sure you could like explore someone's base that was on that planet, but they wouldn't be there. But now you can play with people, and that put it up to the next echelon of stuff. I don't know if the build limit anymore. I got to be ridiculous considering some of the builds I've seen though. I got to go back in, Brain, and I want to get my I want to get the new race, and I also want to get one of those ships. I definitely want to do that. But right now we're in the Starfield realm. Maybe next week. Maybe next week I'll do a night of No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky Coordinate Exchange is a Reddit style community with portal and posts about anything you want, specific planets, ships, and animals. That's what I love about that. 76 says one of the guys in our group has some amazing builds: UFO robots fighting the museums with custom built vehicles. That's cool. I mean, look at this thing, right? Look at whatever this is. This city. Look at this. This is crazy. That's insane. The imagine to build this is just. Now I don't know if they use some sort of editor or whatever, like on PC, to put it in. I have no idea. No Man's Sky and Starfield are both really good games. They both do things well, and there's things they both could use improving on. I think, look, as a gamer, I look at No Man's Sky and look at what it is 7 years from now. And now I'm looking at where the hell could Starfield be 7 years from now? You know what I mean? But then at that point, No Man's Sky will be 14 years old. And then I look at it as like, where's No Man's Sky going to be 14 years? Now, I don't know if this is not me going, it's a live service game, because technically No Man's Sky is not a live service game. They keep updating it, but it's not a live service game. Okay? There's no microtransactions, there's no battle passes, there's nothing over there. So it's amazing to me what they've done in 7 years in No Man's Sky, and what can they do 7 more years from now? Okay? What can they do? Like, what is Sean Murray and Hello Games with that small team? And that's the amazing part. Everything that No Man's Sky has done has been done with 7 to 22 people from beginning to now. Okay? 22 people make No Man's Sky. And then you look at Bethesda, what they've done with Starfield over 8 years in the making. And now it's at launch. What are they going to look like in 7 years? Or the modders. What can the modders do within that time frame as well? Which is insane. All right, going from No Man's Sky, I want to go over to Starfield. Okay. Now, I talked about this a couple days ago. Maybe last week, before. Yeah, it was last week. So people were complaining that the planets were not seamless, right? And there was tiles, and there's boundaries, right? People were complaining about that. And now people are complaining that the maps are too large and they need a vehicle to get around. Okay? Which I find hilarious. So I looked at it and said, well, if they add vehicles, then if you give an inch, people want a mile. Where if you add a vehicle, then you're going to be going faster than what you're doing. And then the world will fall apart, basically, because you would be moving faster, so things would be clipping in. Then people would be complaining that the clipping in factor would be happening, or other things would break in the game. Then if you would complain that you have to get out of your vehicle to shoot, and you're like, I want a laser on top of the vehicle, and then to mine the stuff like they are in No Man's Sky, right? And then you would ask for something else, and then it becomes basically a completely just breaks down the fundamental of what they wanted Starfield to be. So here's an article. Paul Tassi writes, why Starfield doesn't have land vehicles for its vast planets. Okay. Now, these are just his views. He says, one question about Starfield that that everyone has the first time is landed on the first large planets is, why aren't the ground vehicles to get around faster? It seems pretty logical given that they have a trek anywhere from 400 to 1,000 meters to get put to points of interest, which could be a slog on foot, especially with limited oxygen. As part of someone with bizarre Bloomberg interview where Todd Howard fielded questions about the game, he said, quote, you may need to upgrade your PC one, right? And that was a shit answer, but, it is what it is. His response was, once you do vehicles, it does change the gameplay. So by focusing once you landed on your ship, you're on foot. It lets us really relay for the players, or really for the players to make an experience where we know how fast they're seeing things. This seems to draw obvious conclusion that implementing where is also rendering issues. Producing all the rocks and plants and animals, such as one thing, on foot, but another when speeding towards them in a vehicle, right? 100%. Because if you got in a vehicle to fix that issue, then they would have to make the vehicle move slower. And you'd be like, I wish they could speed it up more. Okay. So, however, I think there'd be probably a longer list of reasons for past rendering draw distance pop in alone. These are likely all combined with decisions not to do with vehicles, which I doubt would even change the DLC, despite the fact that whoever forever comparison point to No Man's Sky did add vehicles eventually. Not that these are all good reasons, but here's what I think is happening. Yeah, because there wasn't vehicles right away when you were in No Man's Sky, right? You had to fly in your ship, and then you had to land, and you had to walk everywhere. Then they added vehicles. Okay. He says, those invisible walls. So these are reasons why the vehicles shouldn't be in the game, right? Before the game came out, we heard leaks about people walking anywhere from 20 to 45 minutes to reach the end of one of the game's generated tiles. While 140 hours in, Paul Tassi says, with this game, I'd never hit one of these walls. You don't say, Paul. That's amazing. Because who is going to walk across essentially the entire map of Skyrim for fun? The dynamic changes when you introduce vehicles suddenly. If you have vehicle that moves 4 to 5 times the speed of a player, you don't start having people run into those walls with the same amount of frequency, which would indeed be very bad. So this is a safeguard against that. Exactly, right? Skyrim's a 16 by 6 or 17 by 17. If you had a vehicle or you flew on a dragon, okay, in Skyrim, then you would hit the walls much faster. Okay, in Fallout, if you had a vehicle, you would get through the map much faster. But because you walk, you explore, you see things. Imagine people wanting you to walk and look at stuff that they've created inside the game. That's one of the reasons that there's no vehicle. He says it negates most of the oxygen system. The oxygen system in Starfield is effectively the game's version of stamina, okay, where you can run out of oxygen the most. Now, going long distances on the planets, which encourage you to upgrade oxygen, which includes investing the perks in the upgrade, your gear, the combat, that it's just not as much of a factor. Smaller cities are during combat. Okay. Again, adding a vehicle to the planets not only gets you across the thing faster, but you'll hit the walls that they have in the game. You'll also have what's the point of the oxygen system, right? He says, compared to past Bethesda games, yes, Skyrim and Oblivion obviously have their horses, but it's also true that players spend a ton of time off their horses as well. So maybe it felt more optional. And the Fallout series obviously does not have any speed ground vehicles to whip around the wasteland, and the gameplay is most similar to that game. Of course, the counter argument here is that the games were much more dense with points of interest compared to the vast exploring planets. Yes, but they're... Of course, the counter argument is there's more stuff to do, because on a crafted 17 by 17 map, it has to be interesting. But now you're making a space game, and there's things out there that don't have anything on it, but there's points of interest that you can go to and explore and maybe find things. Okay. The terrain design, the way the maps are generated, many of them just would not work with vehicles at all. Dense forests, loads to rocks, clustered, just lots of impassable locations that could make vehicles largely pointless. And then there would be complaints about that. Of course there would. 100%. Well, why would you put a vehicle in the game if I can't get through? This is stupid, right? It says reduce the exploration, fast power leveling. I think Bethesda wants one of the core loops of the game to be wandering around, scanning rocks, plants, animals, with zipping around the vehicle less conducive to, right? I also wonder if it might be an XP thing, a gain thing. As if suddenly the distance between bandits' bases on the horizon is 15 seconds drive instead of a slow walk, or drive between large clusters of farmable creatures. Perhaps it's too much XP too quickly. That's right. Exactly what it is. All of this stuff, I think, is inside of why they don't have certain vehicles and certain things, right? Though, again, No Man's Sky comparison stands as the game is also about cataloging things, and where the planet, plenty of ways to hyper farm XP, including having your base literally print it for you super fast when you set up properly. Okay. I don't know where I land on this in the whole ground vehicle thing. I think it could be fun, dynamic, something to invest in, but build besides a ship, and no, especially Desolate Moons. I'm not sure what it gains by those long treks. It would be fun to bounce around the moon rover, and yet I can sort of understand why they're not doing it due to all the above. The technical issues may be not fully grasped. Regardless, I don't expect the game will ever get them, and so upgrade that oxygen. I like the article because he points out a lot of things of why if they add something, then it adds a whole other bit of problems, right? If you add a vehicle, then you get around faster, you level up faster, right? Which if you level up faster kind of negates the whole skill tree thing that you have to do and doing certain things, right? So this is why we don't have vehicles, and maybe we will get vehicles down the road, but maybe they have to change their whole fundamental stuff, right? Maybe they look at it and said, okay, well, the game has been out for a year. It's been out for 2 years. Let's add a vehicle because most people that are playing are going to do this. Now, in No Man's Sky, you can build up all your stuff and play all your stuff, and there's no New Game Plus in No Man's Sky, but you can get to the center of the universe, and then if you've ever done that, you know what happens. Okay, that's like the goal, and then you kind of like reset and do it again. Type of thing, right? Starfield has New Game Plus, which is sort of like the sort of the same type of thing. Okay. Let's see what you guys are saying. Excuse me. Excuse me. The last DLC of Skyrim was actually you could ride a dragon. Yeah, but 10 years later, Kylo. I had a guy yesterday tell me, I want it because I can. I said, oh, Lord, please, never think about robbing a bank. I still play Skyrim to this day. Vehicles make sense in role-playing. How could you be a space civilization, have ships, explore whatever, but not have vehicles? Well, the vehicles are the ships, boss. Why? I have a question. If you had a vehicle that could take you from point A to point B by flying, not driving on a road, and then you had a vehicle to take you from point A to point B, why would you take the vehicle that right on the road? In this future galaxy that we have, in the future of 2330. The dragon riding in the Skyrim DLC was on rails, wasn't full control. If it's on day one, it didn't exist. Kids today, they're short attention spans. Yeah, but as Demir said, you can't fly freedom with the dragon. Do you know what I mean? It's not the same. They have to control you where you can go and do. It's sort of like World of Warcraft, right? You had mounts that flew, but they were on rails. They were more like monorail carts that got you to your next location. Otherwise, you would just go everywhere with your flying vehicle. Much more to keep track of the project. Right. I mean, here, I think a lot of people, let me see if Krebsy said something earlier today. Okay. Krebsy said in one of his posts, he was talking about his expectations of what the game would be. And this is not to point Krebsy out. This is just what he said. And I think a lot of people think this way, okay? He says, I think it would have been cool to start on a planet A, and on your way to planet B, get attacked by a pirate or or you can mine an asteroid, or roaming a space casino, or just some really cool big space event. Basically, turn into Space Sea of Thieves. Also, I think it's more immersive. Now, I think a lot of people don't think, right? But I said to him, okay, I said, I mean, well, you can do all the things that you were saying, except going from point A to point B. Like, you can't go from, I mean, you do go from point A to point B, but you're going to point A to point B by, you go to space, it's a cutscene. And then you can fly in space. And then when you're done flying in space, you can click on point B and then you go to point B. Okay, instead of he wants to go, once you're in space, then fly to point B and then land, right? Then I said, you can also mine asteroids. You can do that. Okay. You also get attacked by pirates. You get attacked by bounty hunters. You have random events. Different things happen to you. There are space casinos. There are abandoned ships and stations that you can go to. So besides the long trip from one planet to another, everything is there. And I think a lot of people think that Starfield is not this immersive thing. It's as immersive as you want it to be, and it's immersive as you don't want it to be, or not immersive as you want it to be. If you want to teleport yourself from this planet to this planet without going to space, 100% you can do that. But if you want to jump to space and then fly in space and shoot asteroids and go to a space station or go to a space dock or fight some pirates or fight a bounty hunter or have different conversations and stuff in space, you can do all of that, or you can do none of it. And this is why I don't understand. A lot of people are like, oh, well, it's not immersive. But it's as immersive as you want it to be. Right? I mean, obviously, let's compare No Man's Sky for a second. On No Man's Sky, if I want to run around the planet and get the resources that I want, because I'm being immersive on the planet, this giant planet that I'm never going to go around, okay, I can run around the planet and collect all the resources. Or I can go to the space station and buy the resources from either the vendor, or I can buy them from the actual people on the ground, like the actual what's it called, the ships that come in, right? I think Starfield is as wide as an ocean, but as shallow as a puddle. That's just my opinion. But why do you say that though, Rose? What evidence do you have as it's wide as a puddle, right? Or wide as an ocean and deep as a puddle? Because it sounds like you watch a lot of videos of people saying the exact same thing, but they can't give you a reason why. You give people vehicles, and the next thing they're going to want is a flux capacitor and a DeLorean. Well, if you give them that vehicle, Water, they're going to be like, well, I want to mine stuff from my vehicle. And then if you mine stuff from the vehicle, they'll be like, oh, I want boosters to do this, or I want to do that. And they just keep adding to it. And it starts to break down fundamentally what you're doing inside the game itself. So I'll be honest, Rose, you saying that, and this is not me being a defender of Starfield, you saying that sounds like you're just saying what someone else said. To me, it just doesn't make sense to be walking miles and miles across a planet. But you don't have to do that if you don't want to, boss. Half the people complaining about the game don't even own the Xbox or a capable PC. Coming off an explorer's point of view. So let me get this straight. You go out to the desert, okay, boss, and all of a sudden your vehicle breaks. What do you do? Do you walk somewhere, or do you just stand where you are? Right? You see something in the distance. Do you just sit there and fix your bike before it tries to get over there, or your vehicle to get over there, or do you just walk to that location? No, I have just my thoughts. The story was awful and bare bone. None of the characters I care about, and just not much depth is the mechanics in my thoughts. But what story is awful? I mean, it's your opinion. You could think something's good and someone else thinks it's bad. But I'm just confused on, like, you're talking about the main story. You're just talking about the main story. So what's the realistic stuff that they can add within the current confines of the game? I mean, there are ways already, Demir, that you can get around faster. So there's medicine that you can take that makes you run faster, or there's upgrades that you have to make your backpack like stay up longer, right? So something that takes you, if you ran 1,000 meters and it took, let's say, 5 minutes, now you pop a drink and now you can do it in 2 minutes, right? So there are ways to get around faster. It's just people are just lazy, or they just don't want to realize or read that there are things in the game that makes you go faster around the maps. Well, I mean, from a space guy exploring, living on a planet, who would be exploring? Would it be a little bit more realistic to have a vehicle? You walk, but that's after. But it is realistic. You see what I'm saying? Like, you can fly and you land, and it's just giving you a surrounding area, right? You're not literally... I'm not parking my car at my house and then walking to the mall. I drive myself to the mall, and then I get out of the car, and then I walk into the mall, right? I'm not walking the entire planet from my spaceship. If I want to go to the other side of the space, like other side of the world, I would get back in my spaceship, fly to the other location, then get out and walk. So the funny part to me is people were complaining that the maps had boundaries, and now people are complaining that they're too fucking big. But you're not walking the entire planet. That's the point, boss. They made the area around the ship. It's I believe it's 4,000 meters in every direction. Okay, like your ship lands in the middle, and then there's 4,000 meters in every direction. Okay, and you don't have to walk the entire thing if you don't want to. But in role play, you don't think of the invisible wall. But you're not going to hit that invisible wall. You're not. Unless you run directly at it because you knew it was there. The main story and a few side missions I played, they were basically fetch quests. Name a game that doesn't have fetch quests, Rose. Where the majority of missions in a game are not fetch quests. In a game like this, right? Obviously, Call of Duty doesn't have fetch quests, right? In an open world environment game where Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Just Cause, what else? What else? Destiny, right? What game is at this level doesn't have fetch quests? No Man's Sky has fetch quests all day long. Let's hear your fix, making a planet seem vast and empty and explore and small enough to walk around on. You're literally a miner. You get thrown into a ship from a guy in the beginning of the game. You're literally thrown into the beginning of the Explorer. I don't want your ship because you don't have the land vehicle. I definitely think the game needs a vehicle for when you're going place to farm minerals. Why? But do you see what I'm saying? You literally can go super far and fast by the things that were already included into the game. There's literally things that you can make yourself have more stamina, go farther, go faster without a vehicle. People don't seem to understand you can land anywhere in the planet in your spaceship as long as it's not the top of a mountain or an ocean. Dolphin says people won't admit that they are not fans of the genre and call it a bad, boring game. Well, it's okay to call it. It's okay to call it if it's a bad game, but to make a point of that, it's got fetch quests. I would like to know another game that's awesome. It doesn't have fetch quests. Like, and what I mean by this is that if you see the man behind the curtain, it doesn't matter what anyone says, you think the game is broke, buggy, unfinished, boring, whatever. Call of Duty has fetch quests now, DMZ, and Warzone. There you go. Lord of the Rings is essentially one big delivery quest. Yeah. Yeah. Build a factory, and you don't have to mine shit. Here's the best part. You actually don't have to mine shit at all if you don't want to. You could go to the actual stores, okay? And you can literally buy the minerals and stuff, and you don't ever have to mine anything. Zeal Church says 20 hours, mostly on Crete. I have over 15 locations marked on my first exploration spot. Believe me, you will never want to walk or explore a full landing zone. The mineral farming is nothing like No Man's Sky. You don't need a vehicle. So I'm saying the whole process of what they've made in the game is you don't have to mine and stuff like you do in No Man's Sky. You don't need like 100 items to then condense that down to 3 items to then make a thing. In this, you need aluminum, iron, lead, what else? And then you can build the stuff that you need. The core problem with the engine and the technical issue for having the no land vehicles, obviously devs want land vehicles and plants full of things to do. I think if they had, I mean, the only thing I could think of, if they put a vehicle in, then you'll never use your backpack again. Right? The only way you'll use it in combat if you fly up somewhere or do something. Copper, thank you, Silent Warrior. Right? You would never use your backpack. Which then, if you're in a vehicle, then you would never use the drugs or anything else to make yourself the food they put in the game to give yourself bonuses to go faster for 3 minutes. Right? Which then you would never go to a store to get those materials because you're not using those materials anymore. Or you would never go explore something to find a vial that makes you faster for 3 minutes. You see what I'm saying? So if I have a vehicle, then there's no reason to explore. right? There's no reason to go to the science center or the science depot to explore, to find weapons and things. If the stuff that I'm finding, they're gonna be like, it's okay. It's a vial to make me move faster for 3 minutes, but I don't need that anymore because now I have a vehicle. Sure, Titan. But what I'm saying is, for the mass majority of your span now in the small map that you're going to hit the boundaries, people don't want to walk because they're afraid they're going to hit the boundary, so they want a vehicle. People are still learning the systems and skill potentials. I mean, the deep stuff is pre-release. People just cherry pick the easy crap for vids. There's a lot of let unfold still. Oh, for sure. For sure. Most people don't know you can drink a vial and make yourself run faster. I'm still using medical aids. I have 100 different ones. And they're adding in weight now. Oh, yeah. I keep a lot of them on my ship. Starfield 2, upgrade and build land vehicles. I think at some point, I'm talking maybe years down the road, maybe an expansion comes out. They make maybe the land masses bigger. Maybe they put something on the vehicle. Maybe they give you like some sort of like motorcycle, and it's not like a vehicle, but maybe it moves instead of moving. Maybe it moves as fast as you do when you drink and have the potion for 3 minutes, right? It's a vehicle that moves, but then it wouldn't have any kind of. So you would ride your vehicle, then you would have to get off, and then you would have to mine, then get back on your vehicle, then move and get on, right? But then people would be like, "Oh, it's stupid how I have to get off my vehicle to mine. I wish there was a way I could mine while I'm on the vehicle." Dear God, I need to start a new character so I can recreate Flash Gordon. Flash. Before jumping into the new location with 20 enemies is a blast. I mean, there's a lot of good things in the game, and there's also a lot of things that they could fix, right? 100%. 100%. Is the game perfect? No. Is it? But I will give credit where credit's due. Bethesda is good at world building, and everything inside this world. If you read the history, if you go to the stuff and read stuff, right? Like, we met a character yesterday. I won't spoil it if you didn't watch the stream last night, right? It told the history of how that thing came about and the lore behind the thing. And that's something they do. So when they look at something, it's not like they're keeping a vehicle out of the game because they hate you and they don't want you, right? They want you to walk everywhere. They want you to walk everywhere because of some of the reasons that Paul Tassi brought up inside the actual article, right? Because of, you guys complain that there's pop-ins, but now because you're moving faster, there'll be more pop-ins, right? You complain about a boundary that you can get to. You would get to that boundary faster if you were in a vehicle, right? There's things that are happening that would break fundamentally down the game more, and you would see the flaws more than if there wasn't a vehicle and you just went around, right? It's funny to me that people are like, I don't want to explore, and then they want to explore and they want something to help them explore, right? There's no way I'm going to go around the whole planet, but I'm upset that I can't go around the whole planet. Well, if you want to, then go ahead, but you don't have to. You don't have to mine anything. You can go buy everything, okay? If I want to steal ships, get the money, and then buy the materials, I can do that. Right? You don't have to explore. You don't have to mine. You don't have to fly the ship. But if you want to, you can fly the ship. You can explore. You can mine. You can do all that stuff, but you don't have to. Right? And that's another funny thing. People are like, well, I don't want to do all this stuff, and the story was bad. I don't want to do the side quests, but the main story was bad. It was short. I don't want to mine. I don't want to fly the ship. I don't want to explore. I don't want to do the side quests. I don't want to do anything. And yet, the game is short and boring. It's like, all right. Well, if someone makes a meal for me and I don't want to eat the potatoes and I don't want to eat the corn and I eat half of the steak, it's like, well, there's nothing really to eat. Where it says, nope, they hate you. They will apologize to your mother for the bitch she raised, and then they could. I just kept my keep, guys. I had to open up a jar. I had to open up a jar. It's the only reason men are alive, so we can open up jars. Teleport power could be a nice alternative to land vehicles. Well, okay. You can teleport right now, right? If I've never been to somewhere before, I can't teleport there. But once I get to that point, I can fast travel back to my ship and fast travel back. I watched a video yesterday. People talking about being over because they want to grab everything, right? When you're brand new, I totally get it. You want to grab everything. Don't pick up anything that doesn't have a description on it. If it has a description, pick it up. Okay? If it doesn't have a value big enough for you, don't pick it up. Okay? If the weight is more than the value, don't pick it up. Okay? But even if you are overweight, just drop the stuff, fast travel to your ship, unload it, fast travel back, pick it up, fast travel back to your ship, and then you're done. But people would rather complain and walk super slow, and instead of dropping 3 items, they would rather walk 1,000 meters back to their ship and complain about it. Do you know what I mean? Open jars and we kill spiders. That's right. Value greater than weight. Learn the lesson for more win. Exactly, Demir. Exactly. Right? People would rather walk and bitch 1,000 meters than just drop what you need, what you don't need. Fast travel, fast travel, fast travel. Fast travel is super fast. But you gotta wait sometimes 2 seconds for a load screen. I know. I would rather walk 1,000 meters overweight and bitch about it. Over the next 10 minutes. Yeah, 10 minutes walking, 1,000 meters overweight. Or give it to companions. Some people play with no companions, Titan. I'm just saying, if you have no companions, even if you have a companion and your companion's overweight and now you're overweight, just drop a couple items, fast travel, fast travel, fast travel, be done. You know, I would walk 1,000 miles if I could avoid a load screen. That sounds like a idiotic move there, though, boss. Right? Why would you bitch and moan if you didn't have to get a load screen where I could load screen there, back before you can even walk halfway of the destination? What do you think about the criticism regarding player's choice not mattering? Seems to be a wide opinion. What do you mean not? What do you mean not mattering? The player's choice. You're talking about the dialogue. Well, here's the thing, D Adam or D Tom. Sorry, D Adam. D Tom. If you don't watch YouTube videos, right? If you don't watch YouTube videos and you just played the game, your first playthrough, how would you know that it doesn't matter that there's choice? Right? If you just play the game, you pick the dialogue and you stick what it is, right? You see what I'm saying? I had a choice yesterday. It was either kill this person or kill that person, right? I mean, if a person is going to pick what they want, and then, and I'm not saying this in a bad way, and then you save scum because you didn't like your choice, and then you pick the other way, and the same outcome happens. I mean, you're basically trying to break your own reality. Or you go online and you see someone complain, well, I did this 18 times and this is the same outcome. If you just play the game, you wouldn't know that until your second playthrough. But even then, your second playthrough could be anywhere between 30 hours to 100 hours to 1,000 hours. So even if it is where the choice, even if the choice is not very, very good, right? Not mattering. You still got 100 hours of the game. You still got 30 hours out of the game. You still got 1,000 hours out of the game by just playing the game instead of worrying about what other people have said or played. Yeah, I have no clue how many dialogue will play out. I refuse to watch spoilers. I'm loving this game. Even built a resource mining base. That's what I'm saying, though. Like, if you go out and look and people are like, oh, well, there's 15 dialogues and 3 of them are the exact same. Like, that's peeking. That's peeking behind the curtain. You're seeing the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain, right? All the people complaining about load screens, let's remind people that Microsoft owns a single largest game with no load screens, where I can go tens of thousands of miles with no load screens. You're talking about Flight Sim, huh? Dolphin says it 100% does matter. What matters? The amount of choices not mattering, Dolphin? I'm not going to spoil it, but the criticism about choice not mattering hasn't gone deep enough into the game yet. Choices impact the characters forever. There you go. Once you start connecting your outposts to the others, you will be hooked. I currently have 7 outposts and now working on to unlock everything to upgrade to level 3 extractor. Oh, see, that sounds like a whole entire game itself, Silent Warrior. That sounds like an entire game by itself. I don't think that would be fun to watch on my stream. I gotta work on that off stream. And I'm completely lost how to do it because I have to get resources. I have not been going around getting resources. I've been scanning to complete planets, but I haven't been collecting the resources because right now I'm playing the game where I'm just going to certain locations on planets, finding them, scavenging them, and then just go to the next type of mission. I haven't done any kind of resource management, right? I'm 90 hours into the game, right? And I haven't really explored. Now, I've explored the planets. Like, I've gone to all the points of interest on, like, 5 or 6 planets, right? On that one particular land. Oh, dialogue choices do matter in Starfield. I think they do, but he's saying other people are saying that they don't. It doesn't matter. I've had multiple things that matter. Outposts alone make it seem to be a deeper than so-called puddle. I guess, eye of the beholder, I guess, And I get if people don't, it doesn't gel with people, right? I'm not asking someone to try it again because they didn't gel with it. Some people like a game, some people don't. I don't like Souls-like games. You know what I mean? I just don't gel with them. The only one that I kind of liked was Elden Ring. I'm trying to think of another what other Souls type. Oh, well, Jedi Survivor is like or Jedi Fallen Order was like a Souls-like game. But I'm interested because of Star Wars, not because of the Souls-like type stuff. Right? But it's like a Souls-light. But I'm not interested in those type of games. I'm also not interested in like roguelite. You know what I mean? Like I'm not interested in Hades and stuff like that. Those are fantastic games. I'm just not interested in it. You have to pick the right spot on the planet. If you just create an outpost to create one, that's fine. But the best is to do 2 or 3 minerals. Oh no, I get that point, Silent. I just don't understand the whole thing. Yeah, I haven't dove into it. I put literally a building. That was it. Every spot on the planet is so different. Recommend upgrading scanning skill. So you can right. So my thing that I'm doing that I find the fastest way to farm XP to get up is go to a planet with lots of animals. You get like anywhere between like 14 and 30 points, all depending on how much higher level they are. And that way you continue just getting XP. Because you can go do a mission, you get like 200 points, or I can kill like 10 animals and get the same amount in a short period of time. Bethesda should have really pushed harder on marketing the game as an experience instead of lower my expectations. It's a solid game. Oh, you're saying that you lowered your expectation. The conversation yesterday on Discord, I actually said from last summer, right before they showed at the Summer Game Fest, right, for the E3, whatever you want to call it, we were like, what is Starfield? What is Starfield? Then they showed us last year in the summer before they announced the November 11th, right, the original date. And then I was like, oh, okay, it's Fallout in space is what I said. Okay, and lots of people said it, but I said on this channel, I was like, oh, it's like Fallout in space, Skyrim in space. That's what it is. Okay, then this year when they showed the direct, they showed you everything. They did. They showed you everything. They didn't lie about anything. Right? They showed you that there was no, we already knew there was load screens going into the space. There was no seamless travel. And obviously from that, if there's load screens to get into space, then you would think there was load screens out of space, right? So you know that space itself is also a constraint area, just like it is on the planets. So, like, I don't think they advertised it in the wrong shape, in a wrong light at all. I think they told us exactly, but people, that's what we do because we like to fantasize about stuff. We do it all the time with Marvel shows and Star Wars. We're like, oh man, can you imagine if this happens? We looked at the space game. We're like, dude, can you imagine this? Like, we look at it from other games like No Man's Sky, like Star Citizen, like Cyberpunk. We're like, oh, it's Cyberpunk meets No Man's Sky. It's going to be like this. It's going to be amazing. And I think that's on us, right? I think that's eye of the beholder thinking it's going to be one thing that it's not. I've decided to go full Snake Plissken on Sarah. Heard she won't like me anyway. she gets mad a lot. She gets mad a lot. The moon on Niren's system is the moon on there is also something. The moon. So moons are the best spots to create the first outpost. All right. Morning, Chief. Hey, by the way, no one has to buy this game to play it. Sorry for the disappointed 1 week, and it didn't have to buy it. Oh wait, did you buy Cyberpunk as well? That's true though, Sarge. Right, with all the problems and all the people that are talking about this game, you don't even have to spend more than $10 to play the game. You don't have to buy a console to try it. You can play it on your TV. You can play it on your tablet. Right, you literally don't have to spend more than $10 to try this thing. A lot of moons require an extreme habitat skill, something to build on. There was a planet that I found that I wanted to build on, and it told me I had to upgrade my skill, so I couldn't build. So now I have to at least level up. I got to level up my guns on my ship because I'm having problems with this one mission right now. And then I have to level up my skill to build a base. So I need at least another at least 2 levels, 2 to 3 levels. Let's see. We have another article here. Let's see if this is worth a read. All right. So those of you that are interested in Assassin's Creed, right? I fell off the boat with Assassin's Creed in the past. I haven't played any of the new since it turned into an RPG type of stuff, right? The next thing I want to talk about is this guy played Morgan Park from PC Gamer. He says I played Assassin's Creed Mirage, and it really is a throwback to the best of the series. Okay, he says that I made a dash in the exit, leapt into the next building, and Bassam promptly jumped into a different place and was aiming for. That's right. I've been here hundreds of times before. I adapted to a new path, broke line of sight, darting down the alley, and found a bench to blend into until I was gone. I don't mean to get ahead of myself, but I think Assassin's Creed is back, baby. He says, old tricks. As a fan of classic Assassin's Creed who felt left behind in the series' transformation into a loot-driven RPG, I'm still reeling from a few hours of Mirage. All the talk about making a throwback AC game is prioritize the stealth and climbing over the sword fighting, horseback riding wasn't just lip service. Mirage moves like Enzo in AC games with the modern improvements. Rooftops, Basm's home turf guards die to Hidden Blade regardless of level, and swords fight can end with a single counterattack. Okay. He says a few other observations from my demo that they interest longtime fans. Mirage feels like a classic Assassin's Creed, but controls like Valhalla. Okay. You can run without holding a trigger. Combat and save souls like button scheme as Valhalla. Light, heavy, and dodge. And Basm can pivot his feet on a dime. Notori is back. Okay. Scrap with the Harbor Master. Left with the... Why can't I say that? Notori. I can't speak today. Status made the guards more attentive, but it's also able to tear down wanted posters to clear my name like it was in 2009. Pickpocketing as well. Just about anyone can be pickpocketed, but there's a quick mini game to pull it off. That seems interesting. There's a crouch button. Newer AC games have this, but most of the old ones didn't. I like it, both useful tools against the guards at your elevation, but they won't instantly notice a standing. Basm on the roof above them. A great touch because who wants to crouch all the time? Climbing is realistic again. The AC RPG had a simplified version of climbing where you could grip onto basically anything. Mirage goes back to the old style where you have to steer your way across and handholds. In the right light, Mirage could be mistaken for the next-gen remake of Assassin's Creed 1. I'm glad it's not, though, because already smitten with the Mirage avatar. It's cool but kind Basm, last seen in the AC Valhalla, and also Ubisoft's gorgeous rendering of the 9th century Baghdad. The city's golden, crisp sunshine, bustling markets, and vibrant decorations reads like a deliberate counterexample to the studio's cold door deception of the 12th century Israel from 2007, where AC's 1 showed off its crowd tech, letting Altair shove poor people out of the way. Mirage demonstrates an attention to detail the way vendors set up their stalls for the business. Friends hold picnics in the rooftop gardens. Pass buyers have full conversations in Arabic, minus the oppressive occupation and Order of Ancients, all the Templars of the AC lore, because they adapted that name of Baghdad in the Syria's most lively city since AC Brotherhood of Rome. That's the last time I really played an Assassin's Creed game. He says, getting around feels great. Be back to the urban jungle, too. Buildings are densely packed with highways, awnings, clotheslines to support the beams of Basm's crossing. Ubisoft hasn't put together a city like this since 2015's Assassin's Creed Syndicate. Even that rendering, Victorian London also spread as also protagonists needed to rest mounted zip lines, guns to get around. But navigating Baghdad is also so natural that you could have also never took 8-year break from my long parkour muscles reactivated in a matter of minutes. Reading lines across rooftops and alleyways, like they also use frequent surprises of new maneuvers to reduce friction in places like the kill momentum in the past games. Pole vaults placed between large gaps offer a quicker route than long jumps into the side building, and smoother vault animations over waist-high obstructions mean that you can sprint through market streets without constant threat of snagging on the cart or table. That's not all to say that Assassin's Creed finally shoved its climbing problems. Mirage is also faithful to the classic games. It ran into an old janky to my Basm, took a few leaps into different directions, and intended occasionally started scaling a building, was only trying to run next to it. He says, I'm also reporting on issues because I figured you'd like to know about them, but that's what you should do as a... Okay. Honest myself also didn't really bother me. I should be... free running has gotten moderately easier across 15 years of Assassin's Creed, but in fact, the hitches were staggeringly comforting. The 2-hour burst, like running into an old friend who used to annoy me, but now it just reminds me of fun times. Doing this makes sense to nostalgia or for jank, one ponder later. Missions. One of the areas that Mirage has come a long way since Syndicate is also encounter design. While two main contracts played the preview session, assassinations both required investigations to figure out the target identify or locations first. The main story mission I played was mostly snooping, in fact. Basm infiltrates a grand auction to bid on them and also grant him access to the target. He didn't have enough money to actually win the bid, so I had to steal it from the guy who bought it. In an early instance, he was also given specific locations for a mission. Just hint, it was also a warehouse somewhere east, and he also had red banners and cranes. This is one of the carryovers from Assassin's Creed Odyssey that I adored. Inputting directions instead of following a waypoint not only gave me good reason to use the on-screen compass, but to scout my eagle to encourage me to learn Baghdad main roads and major landmarks. It's amazing about this, right? So he's talking about, and I talked about this on Discord the other day. People were complaining about Starfield, how the cities are really hard to find and stuff. But the more you play a game, like in Grand Theft Auto or Red Dead Redemption, you like started to know like the streets and the different routes and the different paths to get there. So it's good to see that this guy is saying that that Baghdad's main roads and major landmarks would actually, you see in the city. On top of that, you decide to bribe the merchant with a special coin earned from side contracts to get the even more detailed descriptions. Follow the road, cross the bridge up on the right, and you'll see a warehouse on your left past the river. The only catch was that the particular instance, the directions were so good that I didn't take long to spot the only building with the red banner and the cranes to the east, and the merchant hint. So for some reason, it also went ahead and gave me a hard waypoint to find the location. Boo, right? He's talking about the little blue marker or whatever marker it is, right? Told me the directions, and it tells you exactly where it goes. That's happens in all the games now. Still considering to be me impressed with the series that also, once the Compass Gaming exclusive, use the waypoints and hand-holding experiment the wayfinding as a gameplay. Hope the rest of Mirage has opportunities like this and hope they are way harder. Well, can't you... I know in Skyrim back in the day, you could shut off the bread trail, right? You could shut off the waypoint to go. I don't know if you could do that in Starfield as well, right? You would just get lost. That game would now turn into tens of thousands of hours because you wouldn't know where the hell to go. Okay. So a fine point. Ubi has upped to the stealth game too. Old AC Games idea of stealth has placed pairs of stationary guards between you and the goal, like bowling pins, and also knocked down one way or another. My early Mirage missions were different. Guards took long patrol routes, left openings to slip unnoticed, and sometimes dropped clues and idle chatter. I like that, because now it seems like it's more stealthy like Assassin's Creed used to be. So BASM expanded toolkit almost entirely focused on remaining undetected, throwing knives, noisemakers, smoke bombs, and most all BASM Eagles. If this sounds familiar to another Ubi's stealth action series, because there's a lot of watchdogs in Mirage as well. If I dare stretch the Ubi legacy to a bit further glimpse of classic Splinter Cell. Ooh, now you're talking. I love Splinter Cell. Okay, BASM and Sam Fisher have at least one thing in common for sure: low continuation. Describe BASM as a glass cannon that can also go down just a few hits. I can back that up with how quickly I burned through my medicine pouch after only 2 combats. This is a big deal for Assassin's Creed game because how much they're associated with the stealth. If it was always a lot easier and sometimes more fun to draw more swords or cut down 15 guards in a single showdown, Ubi says the approaches probably won't work in Mirage, but enemies aren't damage sponges like they were in Valhalla. Either you can kill guards with a single move, or just like the old games, though timing is a little tighter than I remember. I used to like that with the old games. Old games where you could counter and then just stab a guy and kill him. That was fun, so you felt like a badass. And it didn't matter what level you were. Right? So Ubisoft curated tour of early mid-game missions hit the target. I'm excited to Assassin's Creed Mirage, probably more than others promising games still to come out in 2023. Whether or not it'll all come together is the big question, though. There's a lot of game I didn't touch. I didn't have time to wander around doing side missions, upgrade gear, or experiment with Mirage's 3 skill trees. That kind of stuff is glued and holds these games together. And even at a great parkour playground, it will go wasted without a fun story. It sounds like Mirage won't be bloated, or at least Ubi says that playthrough will clock in around 20 to 30 hours. And I learned the open world game is sounding pretty good after Baldur's Gate 3 and Starfield doubleheader. So it's good to hear that Assassin's Creed is getting back to its roots. Here, let's look at this for a second. I mean, look, we talked about it earlier, right? And this is why I brought the story in, because I like to do like this full circle. We talked about NBA 2K and how sports games were always the same. I mentioned how Assassin's Creed and Call of Duty got in that same staggered area, and then they kind of reinvented themselves, where they took Assassin's Creed, kind of lost the identity of what Assassin's Creed was. They kept making it bigger and bigger and bigger. Graphics didn't really get better, right? So it was always at this level of the graphics of the game. And then they made it more RPG. And now what they're doing is they're kind of like scaling it down a little bit, right? They made it more confined, charging the same amount of money, okay, compared to the other games. And what they're doing here is that they are also going back to the basics, right? They're going back to the basics of what made Assassin's Creed, and it does sound like a good time where it's more stealthy, right? It's not more where you can do the counters and kill the people really fast. So this actually sounds pretty cool. And now I'm actually listening to this person talk about this game. I'm now going to watch a little bit more of this. And maybe I'll pick up an Assassin's Creed this year, or maybe we'll pick it up next year when I have nothing else to play. But yeah, it sounds good. What do you guys think? Are you a big Assassin's Creed fans? If you're in the comments section after this, let me know in the comment section down below. And if you're here in the live chat, let me know. What do you guys think about the Assassin's Creed? Are you excited for Mirage? All right, let me see what you guys are saying. I may played them, but it hasn't paid attention. Didn't notice the story. No, I played them in Bloodborne. Read that. Let's see. Sometimes that sounds like I prefer OW AC games like the original Valhalla and Odyssey. You like to get more RPG stuff. Dolphin says, yeah, instead of actually waiting to wanting to learn, people need maps. I like when you go around and play games so much that you start knowing like the layout and stuff. I don't know. I just find that really cool. Because that's immersive for me. Like knowing San Andreas or knowing Liberty City or knowing Vice City back in the Grand Theft Auto days, that's immersive because you're getting to know the city. Like you don't know. It's like when you play Grand Theft Auto games or like a Rockstar game, it's like you're moving to that city for the first time and you're learning the routes and stuff like you would if you moved to an actual new city. Titan says somehow, oh, where is it? Positive focus article. Good to hear good things though. I love the Origins, Odyssey, Valhalla, and Black Flag being my favorite. Black Flag was awesome. I didn't care for Valhalla, but honestly, don't care about Vikings, so that might be why. See, I like the Vikings, but I never got into the game. Never played it. I was interested in it though, Travis. How about doing the same old good try things is being celebrated? Yeah, I mean, I think this is the route we go though, Titan. I think a lot of games are going to go back to their roots. I mean, something they take out, like in Madden, the cone of vision, you know what I mean? And then they bring it back a couple years later, or they boost up something and then they take it away. That's what Assassin's Creed did. They took stuff away. It was gone for a couple years, and now they're throwing it back in. And now it's new. What's old is new again. Like Origins, but OP action can get boring. Looking forward to Return to the Roots. I'm getting it day one, and it's going to be the best of both worlds. Let us know what you think, Travis, when you start playing, or anybody else. Bro, GTA 5 doesn't have a map to tell me where all the locations are, so it's a piece of shit then, right? That's right, Sarge. That's right. Like you could open up the map and see and go, oh, I think this is where the shop was, or I think this is where the thing was. Right? I loved you could put markers down, but it didn't tell you where the stuff was. You had to remember. I mean, I don't know what it is now. I haven't played it. But when it came out 10 years ago, it didn't have any markers in it. There he said it'll have light RPG elements. I wonder how big the map is compared to the other maps and whatnot. I remember Skill Up. There's one in one of his reviews. I think it was for Valhalla. I can't remember if it was for Valhalla or if it was for Odyssey. He said it was just big for big's sake, right? And it just became more bloated than anything. And I that always stuck with me, right? There's a reason to make a game big if there's stuff to do, right? But if you're making it big just to be like, oh, it's the largest thing we've ever created, and that was my worry with Starfield. Right? That's my worry with Starfield. With Starfield, when they first started talking about it and there's 1,000 planets, I was like, do we need 1,000 planets? Right? Now that I'm playing it, I'm like, oh, cool. Right? More stuff to do. But it's like, do you really need 1,000 planets? You could have just had our solar system and had different things on like Mars and, Neptune and Pluto. And I think that would have been fine. Do you know what I mean? But at this point, Now that I'm playing Starfield, I'm like, yeah, it's actually pretty cool that there's 1,000 planets, right? Can go there if you want. There are things on those planets, right? If it's aliens, if it's hidden things or just resources to get. But majority of them, there's nothing on them, right? So it's like, is a game bloated for bloated's sake, or is it there for actual reasons? Travis says the map will be the words more focused and will not be as large, but will still feel larger than AC2 era. That's good. And this is the thing I have with Star Wars Outlaws that comes out. I kind of like that they're only doing like 4 or 5 planets, sort of like a Mass Effect Andromeda type of thing, and that they're going to be like handcrafted. So when you go to a city or you go to a map, it's there's focus there. There's focus there. Yeah, it was Odyssey. Okay, there was a lot of ocean. The reason they did that was so you can get your black flag on. People like role playing as a pirate. Some got lost doing the actual game. Yeah, I have Brainchild gave me Odyssey and I never played it. He gifted it to me, and I never played it. I just never had time. And I was just like, another Assassin's Creed's out, and then Valhalla came out, and I want to play it, but it's like Assassin. You could play. Get this right. If I was just an Assassin's Creed channel, you could play every Assassin's Creed every day and just go through every single one, like 100%, and you'd be here for years. You would be here for like 3 years solid just playing Assassin's Creed games. They're almost intimidating because they're just so big. A lot of games like this, right? Starfield is intimidating for some people. They're like, I don't know if I really want to play that. There's a lot of stuff, 1,000 planets. You're like 1,000 planets. It's like, right? No Man's Sky. It's daunting for people. This is daunting for people. Assassin's Creed game is daunting for people. They're like, it's so big. How many hours? Like, people want big games, but at the same time, when it comes to big games, it's just like, I really just want the main focus of the stuff. I just want to go through the story and be done with it. I used to love Assassin's Creed games. Brotherhood was my favorite one. Right? Brotherhood was the one where you whistle and the guy would just come out on horseback and just murder somebody, right? That was Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. That was my favorite. That's the one where you could, when you were Enzo, and you would upgrade your town and do different things in the town, right? You would build up and you have storefronts and whatnot. Oh, it's funny you bring up, Travis. You bring up Ghost of Tsushima, because obviously it's a trash game, right? We talked about this yesterday, I think, right? Did we bring it up? I mean, it's an 83. 83 is garbage. It's a low 80s garbage. I actually want to play Ghost of Tsushima. It's one of the games that it's on my like wish list to play because I'm really interested in that game. I just never picked it up. I was waiting for them to either come out with an updated version on PC or on the PlayStation 5. Yeah, at this point in my life, I stick about to about 40 hours games, 60 hours max. They just don't have the time to play anything longer. Yeah, and it's funny because when you're younger, we think in our heads that we played like Mario, and it felt like hundreds of hours, right? But really, the game is only like 2 hours long. But it just took us 80 hours to beat it at certain things. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't have time to really dive into multiple games that are like 60 hours. Because if I put in 4 hours a day in a game, right? That's 10 days straight. right? So we're talking, for me, it's almost 3 weeks. 'Cause I only play at night, 8 p.m. to midnight, let's say. Okay. If it's 30, 40 hours, that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? And then like a Friday, right? That's 4 weeks of just playing one game. And if I'm just kind of like playing it to go through it, I don't know. I hate playing games like that. Like right now, I'm just going slow and playing Starfield because I'm enjoying Starfield. Oh, I know it is, boss. I'm making fun of it because people, the internet's saying like 80s are like bad. That's what I'm saying. That's all. I get it to 30. This is why everyone loves Starfield. Starfield. It's the first game above a 60. You Xbox guys don't have it gotten a long time. Meanwhile, 87 on PlayStation 5. We go, yep. Day of the week. Yep. Gotcha. Ghost of Tsushima is a masterpiece. Would you guys say that Ghost of Tsushima is better than God of War? Because God of War scored higher than right. It's a 94. Ragnarok got a 94. Ghost of Tsushima 83. That's crazy, right? Then you have Last of Us Part 1 got an 88. Remaster got a 95. Yeah, 83 is wrong. I know it is. I think a lot of problems are like people are just not interested in that time frame culture type stuff. I mean, there are people that are, but like I think a lot of people are not interested in that type of sort of like Red Dead Redemption. Red Dead Redemption scored high, but a lot of people are not interested in westerns. I like God of War more personally, but I might be biased because I play a lot of God of War games and have vested interest. Sure, sure. Rose, did you play? Did you play God of War when it was back in the old days? You know, side scroller and stuff like that. Ghost of Tsushima is better than how the hell you ready? How how the hell you ready for 30 Ghost of Tsushima? Greater than Spider Man. That's me saying it. I mean, I love Spider Man. I think I would love Ghost of Tsushima for sure. Maybe what I think of a time frame I could play that. How many hours is Ghost of Tsushima? Like how many hours do you put in just do the story, not 100%ing it or anything like that. Just story. Let's see, hours to beat. Ghost of Tsushima is about 25 hours in length. If you're a gamer that strives to see all aspects of the game, you're likely to spend 61 hours to obtain 100%. Yeah. 25 hours, 4, 8, 12 weeks. 2 weeks. It's the only game I've played, and it was on par with Mass Effect 2, about 40. It says 25 hours in length. Took me 75 hours to platinum. Yeah, it says 61 hours to obtain 100% completion, but 25 hours. So within 25 to 30 hours. I'm gonna put that on my list. Maybe we'll do it after the new year. Yeah, but they're wrong. I don't think they're wrong. I think that's just beelining it. That's the shortest amount of time you could do 25 hours in length. Obviously, you can make it longer if you did side quests and whatnot. But if you're just doing the single player, main story only is reported to be 16.5 hours. The main story is reported to be 16.5 hours. Main story plus side is 38. Wait till the Starfield buzz dies down. I mean, I'm going to be playing Starfield for a while, Chief. It's not even about. I've never been about what's popular or not popular. I'm literally play games that I enjoy. Doesn't matter if it was Marvel's Avengers, if it was Gotham. I play games that I enjoy. I'm enjoying Starfield, so even if Starfield wasn't hot right now, I would still be playing it. Hence why I'm not popular, because I play what I want, not what's the hot item. It just so happens that I'm enjoying Starfield, and it's the hot right now. I did everything in the story was so good, and the environments were so beautiful. I was totally engrossed. Yeah, I think I might pick it up for the PlayStation 4, because the PlayStation 4 still has beautiful graphics. I could probably pick it up for sale, too. $30 right now. GameStop? I heard there was rumors that it was coming to the PC. You think they'll announce that at the State of Play? If the PlayStation does a State of Play, do you think they'll announce Ghost of Tsushima on PC? If it goes to PC, I would pick it up. Oh, I appreciate it, Dolphin. Yeah, because look, I could talk about games and talk about the news and give you my opinion on stuff like that, and we do that a lot. But when it comes to a game that I'm interested in, I mean, I put a lot of fucking time into the games that I play. It doesn't matter what it is. I put a lot of hours in. Oh, it was funny that you brought that up, Travis. So there's people on Twitter trying to make comparisons between Gran Turismo and Forza. So I showed the comparison to my son, and he looked at it because he plays Xbox, right? He plays Forza and stuff like that. And he looks at the two graphics of this particular one that someone posted. I go, which one looks better? He goes, oh, the top one looks better. And he goes, which one is that? I said, that's Forza Motorsports, and the bottom one is Gran Turismo. And he goes, what? He goes, why would they show that? My son said this. He goes, why would they show a comparison where the one on the top looks better? Because the guy was trying to make a point that Gran Turismo looked better than Forza Motorsports. In this particular footage that he dropped, I was like, you can see the reflection inside the glass, where Gran Turismo, you can't. It looks like just like there's no glass there. It was funny. It was funny. He's like, why are they doing that? He's like, they both look good. He goes, but that one's not. The guy was trying to promote the top one as Gran Turismo. And I was just like, oh, boy. JW, thank you very much. Sorry, I haven't been around much, 30. Hope you have a great day. I appreciate it, JW. Thank you very much for the continued membership. Gran Turismo is superior. It's PlayStation 5, therefore better. I mean, let's see. Yeah, let's look at the Gran Turismo back in 1998 was 100%. It was a 96, right? Gran Turismo 7 I hate to say it. I hate to say it. Crap game. It's in the 80s. 87. That's a shit game. It's a shit game. Not by my standards. By the internet standards. 87. It's also a 2.2 user score. Again, not me. The world has spoken. I mean, here, Xbox has a meta score of Forza Horizon 5, 92. That's a good game. That's a good game. But again, the internet standards. So by your logic, saying that Gran Turismo is better, but yet it has a lower score than Forza Horizon 5, which came out a year before that one. I don't know. Again, opinion as fact. I personally don't care, Travis. I personally don't care. I mean, if you look at this, and obviously this is Forza Horizon 5, if you look at that and say that that's a bad looking game, you got to get your eyes checked, right? You got to get your eyes checked. What happened? What happened to Gran Turismo? Why is there reviews of like twos and zeros? What did I miss? Because I don't really follow. Did Gran Turismo did it come out broken buggy or something? Predatory economy and encourages heavy microtransactions. Oh, that's why. No offline mode. Why would you don't put an offline mode? I paid for this and now I can't play it. Oh, that's Travis right there. That was Travis a couple months ago. No offline mode. $70. $70. $70. F you, Sony. Man, what happened? That looks good too. I mean, obviously that's a trailer. I don't know. I never followed Gran Turismo. What happened? It got review bombed because of monetization, lots of microtransactions. Interesting. So it's just another sporting game, huh? The car sports games have joined the rest of the sports games that we talked about earlier today. Just a crap ton of microtransactions. JW says I keep catching shit for not liking Starfield. Can someone just not like the style of game? I don't really care about Fallout either. Not my style of game. Is there something wrong with me? No, JW. If you don't like a game, you don't like a game. I think the fact is though that people that don't like a game or talking shit about the game, they have no interest in. You see what I'm saying? Like if you have no interest in the game, then you don't really care about it. So you would just be like, yeah, it's not my cup of tea. But then there's people that don't like it and then talk shit about the game that they don't know about. You see what I'm saying? I think that's the difference. Right? Like if I don't like something, I say, hey, yeah, I played it, right? Not my cup of tea, right? Like I'm not a big Souls guy. I said it earlier. I'm not a big Souls guy. Souls is very popular. Not for me, right? But I also don't continue talking about Souls games because I don't like them and say that they're crap and they're garbage. You see what I'm saying? That's the difference. So when people are pushing back on people that don't like a game, it's because people like Travis say stuff like that. Travis doesn't play it. Travis doesn't know anything about it, but then he says stuff like that. Hence why when people say like 80s are bad, I bring up a review, right? So you don't speak the truth about Souls. Got it. I don't speak about Souls. Got it. Did you catch that? Listen closely. Play Souls. I don't need to play. I'm watching a friend who loves Bethesda play it. And then even he says it's mid. Okay? Again, you see the difference, though? Something you don't like and yet keep talking about it, besides someone that doesn't like something and doesn't talk about it. That's the difference. No, bosses said that he doesn't like Bethesda games. So now let's chastise boss because he doesn't like something. You know what I mean? It's like he doesn't play Bethesda games. I like when Lono says you have to lower your expectations to enjoy Starfield. Why would you have to lower your expectations though? I don't understand that. It's either you don't like you like it or you don't like it. You shouldn't have to you shouldn't have to lower your expectations on something, right? Why would you lower your expectations? Your expectations are your expectations. But when you lower your expectations, you're like, I guess I'll force. Like, I don't really like this food. I'm just going to keep eating it until I make myself like it. I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that. The difference is that you let it keep part of your brain, and the game or whatever owns you in a way. Right. Right. It's like living rent free in your brain when someone gets behind it, gets irritated with you. Because everyone said it would be groundbreaking. Who's everyone? Did you say it would be groundbreaking, Travis? Did I say it would be groundbreaking? Who's everyone? See, this is what I don't like. When generalistic statements are taken, like, who is God of video games that says that this is going to be the greatest game? Who determines that it was going to be groundbreaking, and who's everyone? Everyone means everyone. So everyone here in chat thought that Starfield was going to be groundbreaking. Right? Who said it? Because Todd didn't say it, Hemi. Todd didn't say that. He did? Are you going to show me an article where he said it was the greatest game ever created? You going to show me an article? Sort of like Viking did the other day? 2 articles he showed me that said Todd said something and Todd didn't say it. I'll wait for you to give me that article. Todd said 1,000 plants. He did. And it's like 5 different games in one. And it is. I think it was 4 games in one, if I'm not mistaken. Where did Todd say it was the Holy Grail? He said groundbreaking, not the greatest game ever seen. Todd knows that's not true. But it is groundbreaking for Bethesda. And I don't even know if he said groundbreaking. Oh, my bad. He said you can go over there, though, than barrier. You can go over there. You still can go over there. I have 90 hours in, never hit a barrier. Someone else had 144 hours, never hit a barrier. Yeah, but all 5 of those are previous Bethesda games. But he still never said. He still never said groundbreaking. Most gamers, gamers are mostly young people with unrealistic expectations. Well, we're gonna have to break them and make them lower their expectations for stuff. This chocolate ice cream, I thought was gonna taste like vanilla. I gotta lower my expectations. I really thought this chocolate ice cream was gonna taste like vanilla ice cream. 5 games in 1 isn't impressive when all 5 games are previous games they made. But no, that doesn't make sense. If it's 5 games in 1, it's still 5 games in 1. It's just doesn't matter if they're previous games or not. Again, I don't know what you guys watched that I watched, but I've been saying for over a year and a half now that Starfield was Fallout in space. I mean, I don't understand. Maybe I'm on a different plane than the rest of you. I don't know. Maybe I just see things differently. And that's exactly what it is. It's Fallout in space. But what did he over exaggerate, Kyle? What part did he over exaggerate? Let's see. Are you just reading the title, Travis, or did you read the actual article? Fallout Apocalypse setting is not existing as not as exciting as it is in my opinion. I could tell your brain was hurting from chat on Friday. Dolphin, I'll be honest with you. I don't even read chat that much. So in Friday's show, I didn't even see half the people that they said stuff. I'm literally just having a conversation with Lono. I see a couple things in chat, but I honestly don't even look at chat much. Are those in quotes? I'm just gonna read the title like you. Starfield, a groundbreaking video game captivating the gaming community. Did Todd say that? Did Todd say this? Because this is all you read, right? This is all you saw, right? Did you read the article? Or did you just read this part? Where's the quotes? Right? Is there quotes there? Bethesda's saying it's groundbreaking. Who said where does it say? See, you're a shitty person to play telephone with. The game Telephone, right? If I said a sentence and said Starfield, a groundbreaking video game captivating the gaming community, you came back and already added Bethesda saying it's groundbreaking. Where does it say Bethesda in this title? Bethesda is spelled with a B, an E, a T, an H, an E, an S, a D, an A. Where is that in that title? Get out of here with your shit takes. No, I said people were saying it. No, you didn't. You said Bethesda is saying it. And I said, what people? You said everyone. Everyone is saying it's a groundbreaking game. Who's everyone? I'm part of everyone. I didn't say it was a groundbreaking game. JW says, sorry I'm late. I'm responding. But yeah, I'm totally not bashing it or anything. I haven't said a bad thing about it. Just knew it wasn't going to be like most Bethesda games. Yeah, that's fine, JW. That's fine. You know, when you say that stuff makes me want to say, fuck off, you lying bastard? To who? To say who? What stuff? The stuff I just said to you? Get out of here with your trash take? Or your shitty take? Go look at the guaranteed. There's a shit ton of people who said before the game came out that it'd be also groundbreaking. But who's everyone with this generic stuff? Like, who's everyone? Everyone is everyone. If there's 5 people in the room and everyone unanimously says something, then you can say everyone. But there's literally millions of people, and you're like, everyone. Oh, you want to say fuck off, you lying bastard? Oh, so you're saying me? Well, you have a shit take. And when you have a shit take, it's my podcast, and I'm going to tell you, you have a shit take. Jesus Christ, a vast number of YouTubers. Is that better? Well, you're getting closer now. You're getting closer, right? Because, again, if one person says it's a groundbreaking game, then it's that one person. Now you went from everyone to a vast number of YouTubers. But who decides that those YouTubers are fucking godsend to say that the game is a thing? Go complain in their channels then that they said it was going to be groundbreaking. Because I don't give a shit if those people said it was groundbreaking, but you're saying everyone said it was groundbreaking. When I give a shit take, you can, but it wasn't one person. It was like 30 YouTubers. Here's a goalpost. Here, it's moving again. Fucking goalposts, moving left and right. I only speak in English. You wrote something, I'm responding to it. You're writing something else, I'm responding to it. You're the only person I saw that wasn't saying groundbreaking. Now that's another lie. That's another lie. All right. Oh, wait. Let me clarify. You're the only YouTuber that didn't say it, which is also, iPhone 15 reveal. This is going to be the same as the 14, only with the 15 after it. I mean, look, say stupid things, win stupid prizes. All right. If you want to say something, everybody. If you want to say certain things that everyone, nobody, right? Everyone's looking at Starfield and they have different expectations. Then you say that Bethesda said something, and you give me an article like this, right? With the trash, another trash article type of thing, where you guys read the title and you don't read past the actual title. Okay, literally says 3 minutes to read, but no one reads for 3 minutes. They just read the titles. And I'm not saying you specifically, Travis, but majority of people just read the title and they're like, "Rob, say this is what it said." Bethesda never said it. They never said what you said. That's right, X Factor. The iPhone 15 will be groundbreaking. Everybody's talking about it. Everyone's saying it's going to be groundbreaking. Dupless, does the iPhone 15 does it come with a cable I can plug into a wall? Because that pisses me the fuck off. That all these devices now, they don't come with outlets anymore. I got to go buy a separate outlet so I can plug my USB into the outlet. Now I have to unplug things to plug other things into the thing, and now I have a thing that's this big that has like 15 plugs in it, so I can. I hate all that shit. Like I can't plug headphones into my phone. I hate that. I hate it. Like it all comes with stuff. I can't. I have to use these now, right? I got to use these, right? So when I listen to stuff to monitor stuff, I can't plug a old school just headphone jack into thing. Now I gotta get an adapter piece that plugs the lightning in, and then it plugs that thing into the thing, and I can't plug an outlet into the wall. It's USB. I gotta get another outlet to, but it's all freaking stupid. I think he said he was having personal problems and he was taking a break or something. Oh, Viking, yeah, he's having. He said he said in chat the other day, one of his friends passed, and he's having he came to me privately and said it, and then he said it openly in Discord. Yeah, see, Travis is running with a completely different narrative. Right? Viking has decided to flat out leave this group. Not sure, but based on some stuff. Yeah, he literally said inside the Discord, I talked to 30. This is what's happening. This is why I'm leaving. There's like no drama like on our side why he left the community. He left the community to get his shit straight because of what happened to him in real life. Papa says Apple claims to be innovative, but copies most of the new features from Samsung. Think about that. Well, I mean, they both. I mean, that's technological stuff, right? Most companies steal from other people. I mean, Microsoft stole Apple's operating system and then they made it their own thing. I should put a section. Just put the title, just the title, and then we'll just make our own stories up in our Discord. It'll just be just the title. News stories, just the title, and then we'll just run with the title. We won't ever read the stuff. I got everyone on new Apple uses Samsung parts. Then everyone says iPhones are better. It's so ridiculous. That is that still a thing? Do people still do phone wars of like who's better, iPhone or Android? I've never got into any of that shit. They're just saying most of the new features have been mainline of Android phone for a couple years, and Apple crowd make Apple look like God for new features. Well, it's because it's new features to them, right? So if a neighbor kid got to watch TV, right, all the time, and then the kid next door finally gets a TV the first time, he's gonna be blown away because he's like, "Oh my god, there's this TV show I can watch and I can play things on the television set." Like they would be blown away because they never had that feature, right? And that's what happens, Akuta Papa. Like certain people that get certain things, they're ecstatic because they get it, but then others, like ourselves, that have the exact same thing, and then we get the new thing, which is like just a little bit better, right? It's like this phone has 4K, and then this one's got 5K, you know, the type of stuff. Then you're like, it's just an upgraded phone. Meanwhile, the other side's like, yeah, we're already at 8K, but these guys are just moving up to 5K. It's the same thing. I just don't get when people say something is a good movie. I watch it, and then I'm like, well, that's 3 hours I'll never get back. 3 billboards outside. Misery had nothing good in it. Nothing. Did you explore just outside the new Atlantis cityscape? I did a little last night and did some weird creatures with flowers or heads. Kicked my ass. I did. And I watched a video this morning that showed that around Atlantis, inside Starfield, the city itself is a square within the radius of the land itself, right? So your land is different than my land. From California to New York. No. No, but literally the land outside of Atlantis changes. So if you took off and came back to Atlantis and then went outside the gate, you would have a different layout every time you came back down into Atlantis. Which was interesting. Let me see if I can bring that up. He shows a part. He shows a part in the video. Me go to 3. That's not my history. Okay, I watched it on my phone. It should have went over to my history. Okay. Why? Okay. Not working. All right. Who's the guy? Okay. Let me bring this up. He does a part, and I gotta find it. He does a part where it's New Atlantis. Yeah, here it is. Oh, you guys can't hear him. Give me a second.
But you don't care about that, do you? You want to know where the world beyond New Atlantis becomes randomly generated. And the answer to that is not far. Don't even need to escape the city to figure that out. I stole this image from a Gamers Nexus video and compared it with my own taken from the same spot, and if I quickly flick between the two, then you can see there's a clear, square-shaped area around the city where very little changes. The odd tree here or there, but that's about it. But beyond that square, it's like the Wild West, and our experiences exploring these parts will be very different. Even if most of the bigger details like the hills and distant mountains look identical. Mystery solved, great success.
So even the main cities outside of the gates are even procedurally generated up to a certain point. Well, having Travis on the stand would be the easiest court case in the world. I better start recording some of the stuff so I can share it. We have a Starfield section in our Discord. JW says, I feel like some of the people have different tastes in games. Fallout 4, for example. I didn't like it at all, but I can tell it's a great game, but it's also like that kind of game. I like Bethesda games. The reason I like Bethesda games, JW, is because of the freedom that you can do in the game, right? The fact that, and Lono had this conversation on Thursday, saying about the engine and how everything is, there permanent inside the world. So if I move that potted plant or move it a thing, or I can have 1,000 potatoes or whatever, that's what makes Bethesda games. Right? Their engine, their creative engine, where the world is, I can grab all the books, or I can grab people and their dead bodies and then flip them over and do whatever I want. That's what's the cool part, right? I had a friend that never really played Bethesda games before, and he started playing Starfield. Why? Because it's on Game Pass. So he started playing it, and he texted me. He's like, "What are the books for?" I was like, "Well, the books are just for you to read for extra, world building type of stuff, right? I mean, you can collect them if you want, or you can sell them." I said, "But there's really no reason for them." besides of what you want to do. That's what makes Bethesda games. The people that don't understand that, I understand they don't understand that, but that's what makes Bethesda Bethesda. That you could go into a world and you could just complete the main story, and you could be done with the game in like 8 hours and then go on your merry little way. Go on to the next game and beat the next game. But Bethesda games are, you are the character. This is why you don't have a voice. This is why your character doesn't speak. You are playing the character that you want to play. It's like playing D&D by yourself, and you can create the character that you want to play and decide how you want to play. Choose your own adventure book, right? A lot of people don't like choose your own adventure books. They like a book, right? They like a book that just from beginning to end, right? Has the chapters, has the stuff. A lot of people don't like choose your own adventure books where you pick a page and flip over and you skip 20 pages, right? And go to the next chapter. Not for everybody. That's what Bethesda is, right? Travis says, I can't lie. So yes, it would be an easy case. You can't lie, Travis? Wow. I think that's a lie. It's a lie about not lying. It's amazing. Yeah, can't lie. I know you said you can't lie, which is a lie. Caught you lying so many times. Yeah, it's the world building 76, right? The reason that I like Bethesda and the way they make their worlds, if it's Morrowind or Oblivion or Skyrim, right? Do you know why there's this giant world in Skyrim? Because they wrote every single thing. I compare it. I'm not comparing it to a 1-to-1. It's like when Tolkien writes, right, for Lord of the Rings. When he wrote Lord of the Rings and all the stuff that he put into that world, the world building of it, right? If he talked about a baker, it wasn't just about a baker. It was the baker that owned the store, then had a family, and what their religion was, and their ancestors, and how long they've been there. It's like this world building with inside of that world. And this is why people love just all the information from Tolkien and from the Lord of the Rings, right? Because he goes into so depth of what it is, which stands above everything else that you read. Even George Lucas with the Star Wars universe, when he first started, he shows you a character, but then also has, like, he showed you Boba Fett, but then Boba Fett was just like in the movie for like seconds, but yet after the fact, there's like this in-depth of what a Mandalorian is and where they come from. And there's a history there, and there's like this whole world building. That's what Bethesda does. Bethesda does that in their games. If it's Elder Scrolls, if it's Fallout, and now if it's Starfield. And that's why a lot of people like their games. Not meant for everybody. That's old IGN employee Elena Pierce said YouTube videos saying, I put 50,000 potatoes in one room. That's insane. Yeah. Yeah. I haven't came across many Bethesda games that really cared for. Don't like the feel of them. And the intimidation that comes with the game that takes so long to beat. But it doesn't. And that's the misconception. I beat Fallout, I think it was 3, by accident in 4 hours. By just doing the main quest. You can actually beat the main quests in Bethesda games really quick. Really quick. I think someone beat Starfield in 3 hours. Wait, someone put 50,000 Series S's in one room? That's right, Travis. That's a good joke. That's a really good joke. At the end of the day, not any game, at the end of the day, not any game, every game will be for everybody. Or any game will be for everybody. We all have different tastes. Oh, sure. 100%. And this is why this is why we have conversations and stuff like that, right? Like, there's games that you guys love that I have no interest in, right? Like, I have no interest in Mortal Kombat 1. None. Zero. I'm completely done with fighting games, right? You guys talk about the fighting game of Mortal Kombat, and you guys absolutely love it. And like inside the Discord, you guys are talking about it. You guys talk about the lore of the characters from all the different games and who they are and what they like. You guys love it. I have no interest in it whatsoever. right? No, you will like that game, and I, like you, will learn to love it. Yeah, no. Did Ahsoka prove correct on Reset or not? Yeah, I'm waiting to hear. Next episode we'll know more. I mean, I'm watching a show. I'm not loving the show, but I am watching it. JW says, I think my main issue is the whole open world right thing maybe just doesn't suit me. But do you play other, minus Bethesda games, JW? Do you ever play? Did you play like a No Man's Sky? Have you played like Ark? Have you played Conan? Have you played an Assassin's Creed, like an open world game like that? Does that interest you? If those things don't interest you, you won't like a Bethesda game. But then again, also, I don't want to know your age, but what I'm saying is, if you're younger, certain games don't hit until you're like older, right? Like when I played Mass Effect, I was 34. Do you know what I mean? It came like I played Mass Effect 1, I think in 2011. I played Mass Effect 2 before 1. I started playing Mass Effect 2 and then I stopped and then played Mass Effect 1. I rented Mass Effect 1, right? Played Mass Effect 1, played Mass Effect 2, right? I like those games more now, obviously because I'm older. I think if I was younger, I don't think I would have. Was it 2 weeks ago? Yeah, 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago and 11 years and 2 weeks ago. You're 33. So you might be see what I'm saying, again, each their own, right? Your taste in games might completely change. Right? Did you like Mass Effect? Did you play Mass Effect? Have you played a Mass Effect game at all? Like if you like that RPG type of stuff like that, or do you like more of the action adventure type of stuff? Like I'm just not. I don't know if I don't like fighting games anymore. I was thinking about playing Injustice just because I want to know the story type of stuff. But other than that, I have no interest in playing like a fighting game. I really, really like story, no matter what game it is. Yeah, the Mass Effect abilities were great. They were fun in Andromeda too, as well, Sarge. I guess what I'm saying, JW, is games that I liked when I was younger, I don't like now, right? And like food, my tastes change. Yeah, God of War is really linear, right? It's story based, pretty driven. Even though God of War and God of War Ragnarok have areas that are open, and you have the potential of like choice of what you're doing, it's still linear. You might need to play a different game before you play a Bethesda game, right? Like a Bethesda game is an RPG type of game, but if you've never played a Mass Effect or maybe like Star Wars: The Old Republic, Knights of the Old Republic, like stuff like that, you might want to dive into something like that, and if that interests you, then continue on that path, and then maybe down the line you could get into like a Bethesda game, or you just might never like them. I see the videos of people making that. No, you just have to. You're not playing Starfield correctly. You have to do it this way, and I don't think that's it. I think certain people it jives with, and it doesn't jive. Like you want it to jive, but it just doesn't jive. When I was a kid, I loved fighting games. I'm nearly 50 and all about story games. I don't really care for fighting games now. Same, 76. That's how I am. I don't care. I had great times. I mean, name a fighting game: Killer Instinct, Tekken, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, right? Capcom versus Marvel. Loved all those games. Now I just don't care. I played 15 years of fighting games. This is why I'm done with them. I don't hate them. I'm just jaded. That's right. Guess I just need more objective base. I need the beacon pointing me to where I need to go. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like, do you read comics? Do you read comic books, or did you read comic books? If you remember getting into comic books, you're like, I don't know where to start. So you would have to have someone tell you, oh, you should start with this issue or this Batman issue or do it with this, and then you got into that, and if you liked it, you would go down that rabbit hole into more of that comic. That's how it is with video games. With the era of video games now is that games get pushed on people that they're like, oh my god, everyone's talking about this game, and then they get the game, and then they don't like that game. Like, for instance, Waterbear in chat, he got under the hype of Baldur's Gate 3, and then he played it and was like, I don't like Baldur's Gate 3. And then he was like, let me give it another shot, and then he went back in and he likes Baldur's Gate 3. But there's a wave that comes, right? And especially with social media and your friends. Oh, did you play in this? You playing that? You're like, maybe I should. Maybe I should play this game. And then you see it and you're like, I don't really like this game. And you feel like you have to get it because everyone's playing it. But, you know, Dave Rose says, I used to absolutely love fighting games, especially Street Fighter. But now that I'm older, I can no longer play them. Reflexes are not what they used to be. Right. Even when you play against the NPCs, Rose, you're just like, yeah, I don't want to do this. Ironically, I love Elden Ring, which doesn't make any sense. Did you play other games though, JW, from FromSoft? Like, did you play FromSoft games? Have you tried the other games before you played Elden Ring, or was Elden Ring like your first entry into that? I think I'm trying to think of a game, and again, not trying to force you to play a Bethesda game. I'm trying to think of a Bethesda game. Maybe, did you play Outer Worlds? Now, Outer Worlds is not a Bethesda game, but it's made by Obsidian, and Obsidian is sort of like a smaller Bethesda, right? They make RPG type games that are smaller in more condensed, right? So like Outer Worlds, it's published by them, but it's not by them, right? So Outer Worlds would be considered a RPG, but it's not like, right? It's like a light type of thing. Might want to play like Outer Worlds, or you might want to play. I'm trying to think of another game like that. I mean, you could play. It's still Fallout. Obsidian made Fallout New Vegas, but it's a pretty beefy game. Skyrim is a good game, but maybe he doesn't like fantasy, right? Maybe he's more of a space guy. You know what I mean? I agree. I think New Vegas is the best Fallout game. I don't know if it's better than Skyrim. I mean, each their own. But I think Skyrim is a fantastic game. Fallout New Vegas, though, super glitchy when it came out, but it was a much better game than the other Fallout games. Obsidian makes great games. Obsidian does make great games. Yeah, I would try Outer Worlds. Outer Worlds is like a good smaller RPG. There's another game I can't think of off the top of my head right now. I would say if Outer Worlds, if you don't like Outer Worlds, JW, then it's probably not for you. I played Destiny, Remnant, God of War, Call of Duty. I'm playing Atomic Heart. Yeah, all those games that you're playing, those are like action games. I mean, you do action stuff. There's a lot of story beats in Outer Worlds. Like, you go shoot, pew pew and stuff like that, but it's story driven. I'm waiting for 33 Immortals. That looks interesting, Silent Warrior. We're going to try it once it comes, because obviously it's coming out in Game Pass. So Travis says I was largely Black Isles developer. You know, the people who actually made Fallout. Well, yeah, then they sold it. I mean, I don't think if the Black Isles still had it, we would have the Fallouts that we had as far as to the next level. Sort of like what Grand Theft Auto went from the top down to the 3-dimensional type stuff. Oh, you're good, JW. Have a good one. Game Pass, we know you're broke. Yep. Yep. We know you're broke as well, Travis, by the way. Because you always have your friends buy you games. So. I'll give Outer Worlds a shot, considering it more modern than cheaper. If you don't like that, you'll probably won't like any Bethesda. Right, exactly. It's like it's a smaller entry to get in. Which Logic says I originally played RTS games like Command and Conquer. Oh, we used to play a crap ton of those. I used to love Warcraft. Then I played. Wait. There was more before that. We played Dune. We played Dune. We played the Star Wars Empire. What's that one called again? I forget what the Star Wars one was called. Dune was the first one. Love Dune. Then there's Command and Conquer, Warcraft, Starcraft. I used to love those games. Empire at War. Thank you, Titan. Dune, man, I used to play the crap out of Dune back in the day. Dune Spice Wars is out now. I don't know if Sarge bought it yet. I know he was interested in it. Yeah, Age of Empires, Civilization, you know, all that stuff. Oh yeah, Dawn of War. Yeah, I love Space Marines. Yeah. That just that whole era, man. And the graphics were like this, you know, like this big, you know what I mean? Let's bring up some gameplay footage, right? I want the original. Where's the original? Yeah, look at this. Right. This is Warcraft, right? This is the graphics I played on, right? This is this this is mind blowing back then, man. This was mind blowing back then. And this is 1994 Warcraft. I lost sleep, right? I lost sleep to games like this. Travis, in 1994, you're 12 years younger than me. What were you playing at this time? You weren't playing this. You might have played this after. You were born in 90. You were 4 years old. You weren't playing this. When you were 7. Okay. Were you born in 1990? So you played this when I was in high school. Warcraft 2. Man, those graphics were amazing back then. Here's Warcraft 3. This right here was groundbreaking. The graphics here we were just like, this is amazing. And then they came out with Warcraft, World of Warcraft. Yeah, the Star Wars one. This one, I don't know if this is. I used to love this as well, but I don't think this is the original. Obviously, this was great as well. Used to love these things. Get the ground troops, get the air, space battles going on. This was great stuff. How do you not have an updated version of this? You know what I mean? Now you have what's that one? Eve Online, is that the one that does this big ship battles and stuff now? How do you not have a game like this? 76 says I still play that. So good. Oh, is it Galactic Battleground? Is that what it is? Hold on. Galactic Battlegrounds. Galactic Empire versus Rebel Assault in the Galactic Battlegrounds. This is. That's the one, Sarge. That's the one. This is the old school. Oh, for sure. That's right. That's right. There's like single player games. They're dead. All these games, man. We played so many. This is where it all. This is all where it came from. Now you play a different. I mean, I would take some of these games redone now. I mean, Dune. Look at Dune Spice Wars. Let me bring that up real fast. Yeah, I'm on. This game looks great. I used to love the strategy type stuff like this. You know what I mean? Didn't Age of Empire just come out on Game Pass as well? Man, this brings back memories of playing on the Apple II, no, what did we play on? It wasn't the Apple II. That's way too old. What were we playing Dune on, Sarge? That was just on a PC. What was the PC that we had though? Apple IIc is where we played like King's Quest, Police Quest, Summer Games, uh, California Games. We just had I forget what PC we had back then. Yeah, you could click on the actual like vehicle, and then there's like a first person type of thing. Oh, I used to love Theme Park Tycoon, Roller Coaster Tycoon, all those type of things, man. I used to play the crap out of those as well. H4 just released on H4 just released August 22nd for Xbox, been on PC since 2021. Well, that's cool that it came to console now. All right, what time is it? 1 o'clock? All right, everyone. I appreciate everyone coming out and hanging out with us and talking about the four topics that we talked about. We talked about NBA 2K. We talked about No Man's Sky. We talked about Starfield, why there wasn't vehicle, or why he thinks there was not vehicles inside the game. And we also talked about the new Assassin's Creed Mirage, which looks to be pretty good. So appreciate it very much. We'll be back tonight, 8 p.m. Eastern, for more Starfield Adventures of Captain's Log, Adventures of Jack Burton. That's tonight over right here on 30 NSG. If you like what we do here, we do this Monday through Thursday from 10 o'clock in the morning. We just read the news and then have a chat with you guys. Just like I said, Monday through Thursday. We do also gameplay Monday through Wednesday, 8 p.m. to midnight. And then we also do Thursday night's podcast with Sarge called Generation X Gaming, which goes over a few of the top stories in the past week, and we rant along the way. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. If you'd like to go above and beyond that, you become a member as little as $5. It helps us out here. Appreciate it very much, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.